96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. The government prepared to halt deportations and detention of people who claim to be Bahamian citizens. This government presses its bid to stay a citizenship decision. Marching orders. The Prime Minister tells candidates election is imminent. And 2 more COVID-19 deaths as hospitalizations jump to 73. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Thursday, July 15th, 2021. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Laverne Gardner will be joining us. Also this morning in Morning Blend Business, we are talking about the controversy surrounding employers trying to force employees to pay for COVID tests. What does the law say about it? We're going to get into that this morning. It's all straight ahead. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. In the overnight, Deputy Director of Legal Affairs Franklin Williams saying that the government is prepared to halt deportations and detention of people who claim to be Bahamian citizens under the court's recent interpretation of Article 6 of the Constitution, pending the outcome of an appeal to the Privy Council. The government is seeking a stay of the Court of Appeals decision, which affirmed a 2020 landmark ruling by Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder that every person born in the Bahamas shall become a citizen of the Bahamas at birth if either parent, irrespective of their marital status, is a citizen of the Bahamas. The ruling allows children born out of wedlock to Bahamian men and foreign women in the Bahamas to be entitled to citizenship from birth. The court has granted the government leave to appeal the ruling to the Privy Council. Court of Appeal President Sir Michael Barnett noting that Wayne Monroe QC filed an affidavit stating that the Immigration Department is still deporting people. In light of the court's ruling on Article 6, Sir Michael asking Williams if the Immigration Department properly deported those people and should they be doing that. Williams saying that he's advised that the government was prepared to give an undertaking that pending the determination of the appeal not to deport any person claiming under Article 6 and the declaration of the court, the interpretation of Article 6. While noting that the Bahamas should keep its COVID-related entry requirements, former Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Peter Turnquest expressing support for ending the state of emergency next month. The country has been under a state of emergency since March 2020, shortly after the country recorded its first case of COVID-19. Turnquest telling the National Guardian that, quote, "We are in a position in the development of this whole pandemic where we have to accept certain realities. That is that the pandemic or the virus is going to be with us for a while." He said that we can't continue to live in a state of emergency forever, and that we should be, at this stage, advanced enough to a point where we can, quote, "make adjustments to laws, whether it's licensing laws or regulations, as necessary to ensure that we maintain the safety of the Bahamian people as a paramount consideration." Meanwhile, as the third wave of COVID-19 continues to present challenges to the country, more than 120 Biminites traveled to Florida free of charge in the Bell Area to receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. Dr. Pamela Mills, who helped spearhead the community effort, said the ship left just after 11 a.m. yesterday and was scheduled to return yesterday evening. This as the Ministry of Health reported that 2 more people have died from COVID-19. A 57-year-old man from New Providence died on July 11th, and a 73-year-old woman from New Providence died on June 28th. A total of 256 people have died from COVID in the Bahamas. The ministry says 41 new cases were reported on July 13th. Hospitalizations also increased from 67 to 73. 5 people are in the intensive care unit. An F&M leader and Prime Minister Dr. Berminez instructing candidates during a Tuesday night meeting to go out and campaign because the next general election is coming. That's according to sources telling the Nassau Guardian. The news will likely further fan news that Minis may call an election as early as August. The party will also ratify its last 4 candidates to run in the next election tonight, we're told. Sources in the party saying Tuesday's meeting was meant to give candidates guidance and a briefing on what is expected of them. One source, though, downplaying Minis' comments, saying that they are nothing new and that he has strongly encouraged candidates to go out and campaign in previous meetings. Overseas, as many Asian countries battle their worst surge of COVID-19 infections, the slow flow of vaccine doses from around the world is finally picking up speed, giving hope that the low inoculation rates can increase and help blunt the effect of the rapidly spreading Delta variant. With many vaccine pledges still unfulfilled and rates of infection spiking across multiple countries, experts, though, say more needs to be done to help nations struggling with the overflow of patients and shortages of oxygen and other critical supplies. Some 1.5 million doses of the Moderna vaccine arrived Thursday afternoon in Indonesia, which has become a dominant hotspot with record high infections and deaths. The U.S. shipment follows 3 million other American doses that arrived Sunday and 11.7 million doses of AstraZeneca that have come in batches since March through the UN-backed COVAX mechanism, the last earlier this week. Many, including the World Health Organization, have been critical of the vaccine inequalities in the world, pointing out that many wealthy nations have more than half of their populations at least partially vaccinated, while the vast majority of people in lower-income countries are still waiting on a first dose. The International Red Cross warning this week of a widening global vaccine divide and said wealthy countries needed to increase the pace of following through on their pledges. Vietnam, Thailand, and South Korea, meanwhile, have all imposed new lockdown restrictions over the past week as they struggle to contain rapidly rising infections amid sluggish vaccination campaigns. And in South Korea, widely praised for its initial response to the pandemic that included extensive testing and contact tracing, a shortage in vaccines has left 70% of the population still waiting for their first shot. Thailand, which only started its mass vaccination in June, is seeing skyrocket cases and record deaths, and only about 15% of people have had at least one shot. In Vietnam, only about 4% have. In sports, back home from one of the more successful performances from a national junior squad in recent memory, the Bahamas team at the NACAC, North American, Central American and Caribbean Association Under 18, Under 20, and Under 23 championships, now looking forward to continued progression and improvement. The 35-member team won 42 total medals at the National Stadium in Costa Rica over the Independence Day weekend. The team won 17 gold medals, 18 silver, and 7 bronze. B3A's President Jamaica Archer thrilled with the team's performance. You can read more about it in today's Guardian Sports section. And tributes continue to pour in for Roscoe Davies, who passed away at the age of 81. Pick up today's Nassau Guardian to read more about this Bahamian sports icon. Overseas from the NBA, Chris Middleton sending the Bucks past the Suns to tie the NBA Finals at 2 apiece. Middleton scoring 40 points last night, including 10 straight for the Bucks down the stretch to send them past the Suns 109-103. Again, that series is tied at 2 apiece. Devin Booker for Phoenix had 42 points, but his foul trouble cost him a chance to build a big lead in the second half. Chris Paul struggled through 5 for 13 for the night, finishing with 10 points and 5 turnovers. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, we've got a high pressure ridge anchored north of the area that will continue to support moderate to fresh winds, while troughing will enhance pockets of shower activity across the islands today. Boaters should be alert for possible waterspout activity, while beachgoers should exercise caution due to the risk of rip currents at East Coast beaches. And all residents being urged to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities today due to high heat indices. For all areas, your forecast calls for partly to mostly sunny, hot and breezy conditions with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms, mainly offshore, though, through tonight. Smallcraft caution remains in effect. Smallcraft operators should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Winds easterly at 15 to 20 knots, seas 4 to 7 feet. Temperature-wise, right now in Nassau, it is about 80 degrees, partly cloudy skies. The streets are wet. Light showers in some parts of New Providence. 77 in Freeport. Look for highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. That heat index, though, will be up to 105 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook and look at the tropics coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on Guardian Radio 96.9, your home for fresh news and smart talk all day.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Let's face it, in an increasingly competitive market, your business needs a competitive edge. That means offering your employees the benefits they want. Give them the benefit of retiring their way with the RF Multi-Employer Pension Plan. Choose from some of the best performing investment funds in the market while taking advantage of low administrative costs and professional management. Whether you're a team of 2 or 2,000, our pension specialists can design a plan for you. Contact us at pensions@rfgroup.com to learn more about the RF Multi-Employer Pension Plan. RF, money at work.
Stay a step ahead of technology with certainty and support from Custom Computers. Our know-how team is here to help you zero in on your next big tech purchase, finding solutions that take your productivity to the next level using only the best and most reliable brands. With 4 stores all across Nassau on East Bay, West Bay, Old Fort Bay, and Palmdale, there's no stopping you from stepping up your tech. Reach out to us at 396-1100. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Are you ready for effortless hurricane protection? Then you need to get to know LA Impact Windows and Doors. Forget the plywood and get the lowest and affordable prices on hurricane windows and doors for all your residential and commercial projects. You can feel safe and secure with LA Impact Windows and Doors. Located in the Southland Shopping Center, East Street South. LA Impact Windows and Doors. Impacting your views. Call 322-3667 or 829-7822.
Switching your mortgage to CIBC First Caribbean is affordable and convenient. We'll help with your switching cost, give you 3 months payment free, and waive your commitment fees so you can enjoy the break you need. Plus, you'll get up to 95% financing and a pre-approved Visa Gold or Platinum credit card with 5,000 bonus reward points and more. Switch your home base to CIBC First Caribbean. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more information.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Email us morningblend@nasguard.com, or you can text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-GR96. 422-4796 standard text rate supply. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining me now, Laverne Gardner. Laverne Gardner, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing well. Hope all is well up there in Grand Bahama.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, that's good. You're doing well. Wonderful stuff. All right, we have a lot to get to this morning, a lot in the news, and we're going to be talking about that. Also, more weather and traffic. Then later in Morning Blend Business, we're going to be talking about employers and whether they can force employees to pay for COVID tests. The chairman of the National Tripartite Council says no, they can't. And what's that going to mean for people who don't want to get vaccinated and have been told, well, fine, you're going to have to pay for your testing every week. And we'll see what this means, and we'll get your reaction. Want to hear what you've been told by your employers, or if you are an employer, what this means to you. We're going to get into all of that this morning. But let's begin with what's in the news. And in the news, the government prepared to hold off on detaining or deporting anyone who may fall under Article 6 of the Constitution, while officials await a decision by the Privy Council on whether any person born in the Bahamas to a Bahamian parent, regardless of marital status, is entitled to citizenship. Well, that's according to attorney Franklin Williams. And Kyle Joaquin has all the details in this report.
The Court of Appeal has gone into deliberation to decide whether to grant a stay to the government, so the status quo remains as a landmark decision by Supreme Court Justice Ian Winder heads to the Privy Council. Winder's 2020 ruling allowed children born out of wedlock to any Bahamian parent after July 9, 1973, regardless of their marital status, to be granted Bahamian citizenship at birth. The Court of Appeal upheld that ruling last month, with the Crown now taking it to the Privy Council in the UK. In the meantime, lead attorney Franklin Williams made the argument in the Court of Appeal today for things to remain as they are, pending the Privy Council's decision. Williams said the government is even prepared to hold off on detaining or deporting people who may fall in this category under Article 6 of the Constitution. Justice Maureen Crane Scott questioned whether there is a need for a stay, and so did Justice Michael Barnett, who said the issue is whether you can deport a person who falls in the category pending the decision of the court. Justice Crane Scott questioned whether there was really any urgency in staying what was happening before Justice Winder. She said it doesn't appear as though there was anything moving while the Court of Appeal was waiting to hear this matter. The government's attorney said there is a necessity for staying this matter that goes beyond the 5 people spoken of in this case, but anyone spoken of in Article 6 of the Constitution. Justice John Isaacs asked if a stay is granted, does that give others in similar situations the opportunity to make applications to sue the government? Attorney Wayne Monroe QC can argue that there is no need for a stay. Justice Barnett said the court will return with a decision as soon as it can. For the Guardian News Network, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
All right. We've talked about this quite a bit over the past few weeks, and here we go again. But let's get your reaction to this. As we had heard from Wayne Monroe, that people were turning up saying, hey, well, that means I can now register to vote and register for many other things, passports. And the government was saying, not so fast, not so fast. But deportations and detention, well, that was happening. That's okay, that's very special. Let's get your reaction to all of this. And still not clear how long before it gets, although we've been told it's been fast-tracked to get to the Privy Council. But this is going to be special. The questions continue whether the stay is necessary. Franklin Williams there saying the government is seeking a stay to prevent, quote, the granting of acquisitions of citizenships who would otherwise not be entitled to it if our appeal is successful. But Wayne Monroe is arguing that the government doesn't have to grant citizenship to those claiming it under the court's interpretation of Article 6 because it can argue, quote, we're waiting to hear from the Privy Council. That seems reasonable enough. Justice Crane Scott noting that the government wants a stay so that everything goes back to what it was before the declaration was made. She said that the government doesn't have to honor the declaration and can continue with its policy of not granting passports or voters' cards until the Privy Council gives a definitive ruling. She added that Monroe's clients can benefit from Justice Winder's ruling, but it does not seem that he continued with the matter while it was before the Court of Appeal. So she said, asking, quote, is there any urgency in staying what was happening before Justice Winder? It doesn't appear as if anything was moving there while this court was listening to arguments one way or the other. That's an interesting position. Sir Michael said the court will consider the arguments and make a decision on the stay in short order. All right. So let's get your views. Give us a call. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Interpretation of the law is really something else. But as you hear, they're saying, well, some of the justices are suggesting that this is really in relation to those 5 respondents that Wayne Monroe represented, and until this is all resolved, everybody else needs to just calm down. Calm down. I know that's easy to say.
Yeah.
We've been living in limbo for so long, but we do need this to...
It's easy to say when you have citizenship.
Yeah,
know?
yeah, absolutely. But we do.
But you have to take into consideration these people who, for all intents and purposes, and according to Article 6, they're entitled to citizenship, and they have been waiting their whole lives for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it just seems that we are, I could be wrong, but just dragging this on and dragging this out as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, you know, it would be helpful, I guess, if maybe some of the lawyers would talk about it, what people should be doing during this time while they wait. Do you need to go and get those DNA tests? That sounds like something I would do, right? Get that all confirmed. And so when you're ready,
get those things so that, you know,
as soon as this is sorted out.
Right. Based on what the Privy Council says, you know, try to make sure that you have whatever the requirements are going to be, because I could be wrong again. I believe that it's going to be difficult. It's going to be made difficult because clearly the government feels the way that it feels based on their interpretation of Article 6. Mm-hmm. And so, to my mind, there are going to be all sorts of requirements. So anything that you think that you may need, I would suggest that they go ahead and do that.
Yeah. All right, let's.
I could just see it right now. Oh, yeah, you need your great-great-great-great-grandmother's birth certificate and 2 people to verify that is your great-great-great-grandmother.
Also, a lock of hair from the 1800s, probably.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's hear what these folks are saying on our phone lines. Good morning, caller. You are on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to your guest. To your co-host.
Good morning.
Report. What's your name again?
Laverne.
Gardner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gardner. Okay. Yes. You're a very interesting lady, Miss Gardner. Dwight Strachan.
Hi.
This whole initiative with that's before the court, to me, don't hang up now. Hey, Dwight, to me, it seems to be so political until it ain't funny. It's coming from both sides now. It's like the PLP and the F&M. Every time when election comes, there's this heavy push to get persons with Bahamian passport. But this time, we're going at warp speed and overdrive over the abyss. You know what's ironic? Just a few days ago.
Let me ask you before you go on. Well, why does it seem political?
It is political.
Okay, why?
It is
How?
polarized. It's political. Our jurisprudence is political when you look at it, because Michael Barter was a big-time F&M. Hello?
I mean, just because the people involved were affiliated with the party doesn't mean that?
If it means that?
There are people on both sides of...
Political parties in this country, as the F&M is read, it's like blood and family.
I think it's only if you choose to see it that way.
Deep. It runs deep.
Okay.
The longer you've been in the party, the more intoxicated you are with that red wine or blood that they got running through their veins. But the irony to me is the mere fact that only a few days ago, we were supposed to celebrate our independence, right? Our independence was not celebrated, not for Bahamian, right? But other people celebrated, is a sort of what I would call apartheid kind of thing going on.
Well, how was our independence not celebrated?
Well, what our government did. Sent it to church service. But my irony is, right? The watering down of Bahamian, what Bahamian is, the watering down of Bahamian sovereignty, the watering down of Bahamian. I'm talking about in general, right? Now, to soften up everything and make him in nothing, right? And I mean, it's like, it's so political. It has a stench to it. Because the mere fact that, I mean, like, it's always been known for a long time that persons who come here illegally, the government for years, never did the right thing. Now, we have a problem. What are they going to do? Further compound the problem. You know, I mean, as a citizen, right? I mean, I take my to God, right? Whatever God is, I take my out to it, right? You know what? I never dreamed in a world when I was brought up, you know, abide by the law, be a good citizen, do the right thing, do not steal, do not this, do not that, right? And to grow up as an adult in 2021 to see this manifestation of corruption.
I mean, what are we talking about here? Are we talking about this issue?
We are talking about the same issue about this thing with this Article 6 in the Constitution.
Bahamian fathers who have to adopt their own children because if they're unmarried, they are not seen as being a parent to this child. That is corruption?
No, sir, I understand that aspect of it, right? That part isn't corrupt, right? The part that is corrupt, right? I mean, when we look in our hospitals,
yeah, but you see, you're going into a whole bunch of other stories. That's not what we're talking about today. That's not what this matter is.
No. This is what we are talking about today because guess what? Where babies come from, okay? And the bottom line is to get these persons who are stateless, to give them some status. But you know what? The irony is that these people who they call stateless, they have a state because no one in the world is born without a state because wherever they come from, their parents come from, and think that's where they are. But you know what? In closing, right? It's rather ironic too. Right? That, you know, it was only one time you all talk about what happened in Haiti, right? You know, and to me...
One time,
sir. Last week when it happened, one time.
You really need to stop. What are you talking about? We talk about Haiti all the time. And
what I'm saying is, right, the president of Haiti got shot, right? And only one time you all talk about it, right?
Okay, what about it? I mean, we actually talked about it for 2 whole days. What about it? That's also not this country.
Excuse me. What about it is this, right? There are a whole lot of persons who are from that place, right?
Uh-huh.
You know what? The place itself, right, is ran by gangs, all right?
But what does this have to do with what we're talking about today?
It has a whole lot to do with it.
Okay.
Because when we look at who in our House Assembly, you know, we can't even talk about who I mean, indigenous Bahamians, man, people who have something for this country.
You mean the
people
Lucayans?
Who stand for this country.
Who are the indigenous Bahamians? We got to go. Indigenous Bahamians.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened there.
My.
But
see, this is why we have these challenges.
We went all over the place.
Everywhere but where we should be.
At the end of the day, we are talking about people who were born in this country to a Bahamian father who do not have citizenship. Because the father was not married? That's what we're talking about. We're not, and you know, to say like you're trying to fast track anything, I don't think if you speak to anybody who's in that position, they're going to tell you anything has been fast tracked. They've been waiting for years. And yes, they may have an opportunity to have citizenship where their mother is from, but they don't want that. They want to have citizenship in the place that they have lived all of their lives, the only place that they know. I don't know. I don't know what happened just now.
We've got an immigration crisis. We know this. Let's keep everything compartmentalized, right? There are many different issues. It's complex, right? But this moment, we are talking about
this issue and making it an immigration issue in the sense that we're bringing in other things. We're not discussing people who came here illegally and had children. That, I'm sure, will be another topic for another day and another time. We're not talking about that.
And if we are, because I'm sure there are some people who came illegally and had children with Bahamian men, well, then you got to deal with that. That's another issue, right? What's up with you? Why are you doing that, right? Knowing how complicated this matter is and what can happen. You got to take some personal responsibility. Exactly. What are you doing? So about that, but for the moment, we're not talking about the other issue. For the moment, which is a big issue, but don't let that cloud this here. We've got people who are Bahamians. That's all they know.
Right.
And although you can say that with the children of people who came here illegally as well, this is all the only country.
But
they know.
again, we're not talking about that right now.
Exactly. Let's see if we
And
can
that's
separate
the thing.
those
Like
issues.
we keep tying them in, and they are not tied in. These are different circumstances, and we have to see it as such.
Apparently, that's difficult. Let's see if this caller gets it. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
The godly days of this dark universe.
Hi.
Hey, Dwight. Justice are looking down from heaven. You know what amazes me? This situation been going on for years. Whatever we are talking about, or we shouldn't be talking about. And some people just putting on the dress and pants now as Wayne Monroe got into that issue with the court pertaining to the situation. It shows me the bunch of hypocritical situations that are in this country.
I don't understand.
But my question, what I want to ask you, right? When the Prime Minister, when you read earlier, where the Prime Minister told his people to go on campaign, right? What time?
Get ready.
Say it again?
To get ready.
To get ready. What time he's speaking of that they should go on campaign?
And
Because
again,
the country's still on lockdown.
To get ready. To get ready. It wasn't about to go and campaign. But as far as we know. But to get ready. We'll get to that a little bit later in the
But
show.
you know something, Dwight? People are looking for a front. The people are milking the Bahamian people, and they got to stop this wickedness. Thank you for your time.
Okay. All right. I also don't know if that may be true, but I don't know if it's related.
I don't know.
I don't know if it's really related. Hey, it's possible, yes, okay, but that's not quite related here. I do want to go back to what the previous caller said, it being political. And, we're going to get into this problem with everything in this country, right? Because everybody has declared publicly, apparently, which party they support. Everybody's run for a party or been appointed to the Senate from a party or appointed to a board. And so everyone assumes that you are this and that and whatever. So everything from there on will be political. You pull for the Lakers, this one pulls for the Knicks. Oh, it's politics. Really? I mean, we're not going to be able to progress if we continue like this. This is their jobs. They're lawyers, they're judges. They've got to do it. If they
we have a serious problem if we cannot trust our judges to carry out the law and to make decisions, regardless of their political persuasion. We have a problem if that is indeed the case.
Well, we certainly have a problem. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight, and good morning, Ms. Gardner.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I don't have a problem.
Okay.
So, some of them have a problem. But listen, I was always saying, Dwight and Ms. Gardner, any child who born in this country, citizen.
Okay.
Yeah, but that was always, to me, is common sense.
No, you can't say that.
Well, to me. Because culturally, that's all they know. The average child never used
No, so you got to be careful there because born in the country, but you're living in the country. Is that what you mean? Born and living? Because you could be born here and be gone for 100 years and come back.
You were born and living and born.
Okay.
Because though they might take you out, though your parents might take you out of the country in some circumstances, your birth is tied to the Bahamas, to your country, to the Bahamas.
Okay.
And that's why I love that. Some countries, America have the system, other countries have the system too. Wherever you born, you are considered. That state, that's citizen. The second point about early election, there's not going to be no election this year. Early election probably is next year. But I'm hoping that the Prime Minister keep his promise on fixed election. The question is where the fixed election is going to be next year. Is it going to be March or is it going to be in April or going to be in May?
Okay.
That's the issue we should be discussing.
We're going to get to that in a little bit later.
Huh?
We can get to that in just a few minutes. We can get to that in
Right. So
just
we
a little.
can't let the political party brainwash us and force us to go to an early election. Prime Minister's gone next, and he said that over and over.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Let's take another call, and we'll get to all your messages coming in. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, LeBron.
Morning.
Good morning, my blessed Bahama. Dwight, you know something? This is why I keep telling you all the lawyers get this country straight up. So Lennon Pinner was a lawyer, Miss Christie was a lawyer, Papa was a lawyer. It's something called a man institution. Even the great United States is a man. Canada, all these places where the country is a man. They're part of the problem. They got this country backwards.
Well, they've tried. They've certainly tried. And now
they ain't trying, not Dwight. They ain't trying.
They did. We had
so they can make money.
We had 2 referenda.
Corrupt straight to like my good friend Mr. Simmons is saying. That's what he means. Now I figure if any child born any Bahamian man, particularly the man, that child is automatically should be a Bahamian. That should have been fixed from a long time, Dwight. They don't think that should be fixed. My thing is, right, all of these ladies, them Bahamian ladies, them who like go and do these stupidness for these foreign people, they know these things can happen. Now they can come quiet.
No. It's not. It doesn't work like that. You got to get it right. This is very sexist. Bahamian women.
That's why I say I am not a chauvinist, right?
Yeah, but you see, the law, the Constitution is chauvinistic, and it has provided for the children born to unwed Bahamian mothers to be Bahamians no matter where they're born. But the same is not. That right isn't granted to Bahamian men.
I understand what you're saying, Dwight.
And we did not fix it.
They could have fixed it a long time.
Well, no. We could have fixed it.
Right.
We could have fixed it. This was presented to us in the last referendum, and we
could have fixed it.
Voted
Too
no.
many people were going around saying just no to everything.
They try to put too much things in the
No. That's no excuse. People in other countries, they are voting for 100 things. That's crazy. That's crazy.
You could
People weren't listening.
Yes for what you
People
wanted
weren't.
to and no for what you wanted to. It wasn't like you just had one vote that this was. If I say no, it's no to everything.
That's what people were being told, and people weren't trying to do any research. They weren't trying to read for themselves. They weren't trying to get the information. They just heard somebody say, "I'm voting no to everything," and they just did that.
And they went and we went and we voted no for everything. So here we are.
So they tried, JJ. They did absolutely try. Is he gone?
Sounds so.
Okay. Let's read these messages. We have to take some responsibility for this as well. They do. This one says, isn't it ironic that matters relating to citizenship in our quote-unquote independent country are in the hands of people that are citizens of another jurisdiction? The Bahamas is not a real place. Is it? Okay. Again, your Constitution made it so. Do you want to fix it? Let's call for it to be fixed. Tell your politicians. Don't ask them for anything else when you see them. Say that, hey, I want the Privy Council gone. Say that. That's the first thing. Don't say good morning. Don't say good afternoon. Say Privy Council gone. We got to have a referendum. Say that. Fix it. Fix it. Fix it. It's not ironic. This is how we wanted it.
Demanded of them.
If that's what you want.
Right.
Right. It's not. This isn't set in stone. You don't have to be here grumbling about it every day. I saw somebody complain about the system we have where you can't vote for your MP without it impacting who could become the prime minister. Well, what are you complaining about that for? Fix it. I've been saying that forever. We need a system that we can vote for our leader independently of who the MP is so that we can have better people in the House. Why are we complaining about this? Fix it. It's easy to fix if you really want it to be fixed. But everyone's just going to sit down and throw their hands up. Oh, my God, this system that we have is so unbelievable. I don't know. What are we going to do? Oh, boy. Anyway, here another text. This F&M government has no respect for the law. They seem to believe that the law is a tool to get what they want. Is it really being argued that the government doesn't have to comply with the law because it doesn't like the ruling? I don't think that's what they're saying, no. Why are the feminist groups in this country all over this? Why are they or why aren't they? Which one are you saying? They seem to crawl out of the woodwork when they see a perceived advantage for women. What now? What? Texter. Those people aren't talking anymore because of what happened after the referendum. After how they were called everything but children of God. And the way how that went, okay. Anyway, regarding the possibility of an early election, okay, we'll get to that in a bit. I'll come back to your text. This one says here, complain about the callers. Wow. This one says, the law is referring to children born in the Bahamas to women who are illegal or without status. The citizenship of a child born in the Bahamas doesn't affect the status of the mother, but what are you saying here? She has to have status to remain in the Bahamas. I don't know what you're saying, but you're not talking about what we were talking about. I'm not sure what's going on. Let me read this one more time. The law is referring to children born in the Bahamas to women who are illegal. That's not what we are talking about, and that's not what this issue is before the court.
No.
Right? This is about the children born to someone, anyone, whose parent, one of the parents, at least one, any one of the parents is a Bahamian, right? So whether the other one is legal or not, if one of the parents is Bahamian,
the child
should that child be considered a
Bahamas.
Bahamian? Yes, born in the Bahamas. Yes. This one here. My father is foreign, but was married to my mother, who was a Bahamian when I was born, so I have no issue with foreigners. Well, that doesn't mean it. Okay. My concern is if the law is changed to allow children of a Bahamian father to have citizenship, in practice it will lead to Bahamians being minorities. When the kids of naturalized men are included, the foreign element will outnumber the local element by far. Well, who's going to be naturalized? I don't understand. Well, not understanding your text either. If the law is changed to allow children of a Bahamian father to have citizenship, in practice it will lead to Bahamians being minorities? How? They're going to be Bahamians. What's the issue? What are we talking about? Did I miss it, Laverne? What I don't understand.
I think what has happened is we have confused a lot of issues. We're tying a lot of issues together, and the conversation has become convoluted in the sense that we're attaching issues of when you have a child born to non-Bahamians who may be here illegally, but the child is born in the Bahamas. We are putting a lot of other things, and so that's where these responses are coming from. When all we're talking about is Article 6, which says that the child who is born to a Bahamian man is entitled to citizenship.
Well, a child born in the country to either parent is a Bahamian. That's very clear.
Parent.
Yeah.
You see, that's all we're talking about. We're talking about either parents born in the country by the parents of Bahamians, the child is entitled to Bahamian citizenship.
Right.
That's all we're talking about this morning.
Right. So
But
already,
perhaps we should just move on.
perhaps
At this point.
it seems so. No one's.
Yeah, let's talk about early elections. That seems
That's
to
all
be
they
a
want to
hot
talk
button
about.
issue.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So let me just read one more text. Is that a new call there? Should we? Yeah. That is a new one. Yeah. Let's take this, Laverne, our final.
Okay.
Take a deep breath. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Dwight, I'll be respectful. How are you doing, Dwight?
Okay, we're good. Please don't call any names today. Let's just talk. Mm-hmm.
I'll talk clear. The problem we have in this country is cowards. Listen, be careful, Mr. Destroy. The problem is right now. Talk you and Laverne, you all do this morning. The PLP referendum was to give the same rights to F&M, get involved, and I can call names, Lyle Bettle, Carl Bettle.
No, see, I just said don't call the names. Yes, the Vote No movement.
Right.
Right. Okay, ready to go. Yep. But you said you weren't going to call the names. We know who you're talking about. The Vote No movement pushed it. Yes, it was unfortunate. It was horrible. It was crazy. And now here we go. And there's so many people. And they weren't talking, unfortunately. They weren't talking during the referendum so people could, humanize this and see. We had that guest on a few weeks ago, and people heard that story and were very moved by it. But there's a lot of people like that. For some reason, they've wonderful people who spoke on their behalf, but perhaps that made it seem, as people were saying, that they were talked down to. And that's not good, of course, but when we do this again, and we're going to need to do it again, it has to be addressed, right? Hopefully we'll hear from the people who are really being impacted. So you can hear from those brilliant students who are in high school and couldn't take advantage of all the scholarships they got because they weren't sorted out yet because they have to wait till they're 18, right? To hear the people who have to pay much more than they would to go to UB or whatever it is because they aren't considered a Bahamian as yet, even though their father is a Bahamian. This is the only country they've ever known. And this double standard that we have needs to be addressed once and for all. Once and for all. Here's a text. If it's one thing we learned during the COVID and emergency powers, our government has the capacity swiftly. Do you think that a referendum could be organized equally as swiftly to better define sections of our Constitution, like Article 6, that address issues that may not have been as challenging when the framers crafted it? I'm sure it could be, but the problem is, as we are hearing this morning, it'll become political again. I don't know what that's all about, but it will, for some bizarre reason. And it's very, very, very sad. But we could do anything if we really want to. If we really want to. People say it's not a good idea to have a referendum.
Too.
Well, people say it's not a good idea to have a referendum so close to an election. That's only in this place, because everywhere else, they have tons of referendum on election day and whatever. But apparently here, you cross the street at the wrong time and you will be labeled as being a member of a certain political party, it seems. Let's call here. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi, good morning to your co-host as well.
Good morning.
Yes, no, you mentioned pastors just now because they're too busy as chairmen of the board.
Oh, dear.
And they were all over the talk shows during the referendum, injecting sissies and lesbians and people going to get married and gay, all kind of nonsense. But you're not going to hear from them because all of them are chairmen of board.
Okay. All right. Well, nobody was asking to hear from them, but that person was asking about the feminist movement. Not sure why. Don't understand that part, but okay. This one says here, Dwight, you and Laverne are confusing this issue because this case that is presently before the courts is involving a Bahamian father whose child was born in the Bahamas to a Jamaican woman who was deported along with the child, and the father took the matter to court and he won. We're not confusing anything. Do you hear the callers? They are talking about totally different things, right?
We're not even specifically talking about that case.
But we get that. It's the callers who are bringing up illegal immigration and people who come here, and that we're talking about. So what are you saying? Okay. Anyway, it's another one here. It's ironic to me how, as a country, we don't want to own children born here by mixed nationalities, but when these same kids become successful, all of a sudden they're Bahamian. We see that playing out every day on the international stage. With our athletes and other people.
That texter is very right.
It's amazing. One day, one of those people is going to tell the story about how they weren't really considered Bahamian until they had to apply, right? And then it's going to hurt when you hear it.
And then we'll rush to fix it then because we don't.
Yeah.
We don't want to air our dirty laundry on international.
Not like
platform.
That. Nope. This one says here, you brilliant Bahamians are mixing the situation up with the legal Haitian issue. Now you see why the referendum failed. Yeah. That's what we're saying. It's very unfortunate. All right. We'll take this final call, and then we're going to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, guys. How are you all this morning?
Doing well. Good morning.
Morning.
Okay. According to the Constitution, what I read.
You're very low. We can barely hear you.
Yes, I say according to the Constitution, what I'm understanding that any child born to a Bahamian parent, it never said male or female. So
right.
I see what the big issue is because even if the framers meant male, they would have said male alone, or if they meant only female, they would have said female. It's about time this issue be fixed, because what it do is it disenfranchise persons born in the Bahamas to a Bahamian parent, and that is totally disrespectful, man. How do you expect for these people now, when they are granted citizenship, to really, really take Bahamians serious when they are also Bahamians? Come on, man. We have to hurry up and fix this issue before it gets worse. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Before we wrap this up, I'm just going to read Article 6.
Mm-hmm.
Born in the Bahamas after the 9th of July, 1973, shall become a citizen of the Bahamas at the date of his birth, if at that date either of his parents is a citizen of the Bahamas.
Yes, that seems pretty straightforward.
Yes.
And Justice Winder mentioned that as well, of course, right? Parent, it says parent, but the dissenting side, the other side points
it says
to
either of his parents.
Either. That's clear to everybody. That's one of the
Either.
clearest sentences in the entire Constitution, the one that seems to resemble English the most. But but it's Article 14, though, that causes some issues here.
But that doesn't have anything to do with Article 6.
Hey, that's what you and I say, but other lawyers say, nope, it can't be ignored. And that one,
we're not ignoring it. It's just that it's not the same
seem to
thing.
be.
It does not tie in. But anyway.
But we got to read it. They say, it says in Section 1, any reference in this chapter to the father shall in relation to any person born out of wedlock other than a person legitimated before the 10th of July, 1973, be construed as a reference to the mother of that person. As you say, as the caller pointed out, that one, 6, does not mention father. It says parent. And this is what Justice Winder's been saying, but others say, nope, we can't ignore this. So, the penalties for unmarried people continue in the country. Well, at least unmarried men. So there we go. But anyway, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more of what's making news on this Thursday morning. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Roll that bongie like it's spring break. Oh, I got that feeling. Ain't nothing holding me back. So I tell all the gal them, I got that feeling. This junk canoe got me throwing it back. It's going down out on bed. Yeah, on bed. It's going down out on bed.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
7:43 the time for your Morning Blend traffic alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. In your real-time traffic at this hour, as usual, Bob Butler Highway, the hotspot this morning from just north of Fire Trail in the northbound lanes all the way up to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. Heavy traffic there at this hour. Gladstone Road looking as busy for you northbound, north of Fire Trail to JFK Drive. The traffic is building along Blue Hill Road and along Carmichael Road westbound, heading toward Coral Harbor Road. Elsewhere, not looking so bad this morning so far, just a bit of building traffic on East Street, just north of Soldier Road, heading towards that roundabout with East-West Highway. And at the major intersections along Prince Charles Drive and Robinson Road. That's what we're seeing so far. We'll have another real-time report for you just after the 8 o'clock news. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined. And time for another check of your weather for today. Here's what's happening. We've got high pressure ridging anchored north of the area. That's going to support moderate to fresh winds, while troughing will enhance pockets of shower activity across the islands today. Boaters should be alert for possible waterspout activity, while beachgoers should be alert for the risk of rip currents at East Coast beaches. And everybody's being urged to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities due to high heat indices today. For all areas, your forecast today calls for partly to mostly sunny, hot, and breezy conditions with a few scattered showers and a chance of isolated thunderstorms, mainly offshore through tonight. Smallcraft caution remains in effect, and smallcraft operators should be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures today getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index will make you feel like 105 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, troughing is expected to keep rain chances slightly elevated across the area through Friday, with a marginally drier trend expected across the islands over the weekend, starting Saturday. Ahead of that, though, Friday, tomorrow, partly cloudy, hot, and a bit breezy, mainly across the central and southeast Bahamas, with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. Saturday, partly mostly sunny, hot and a bit breezy in the central and southeastern islands, with a few passing showers and a slight chance of an isolated thunderstorm. In the tropics, shower activity associated with a non-tropical area of low pressure located several hundred miles south-southwest of Cape Race, Newfoundland, has increased since yesterday. However, this system is showing a low chance, only about 10% for tropical cyclone formation through the next 5 days. Again, no threat to us. But that is your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by the Nassau Guardian. Pick up a copy today.
The summer you deserve is here at Alive. We do it better. Capture more moments and go further with our prepaid plans for everyone. Roam free with postpaid and stay connected with MiFi on the go anywhere, anytime. We do it better with more device offerings, accessories, exclusive deals with the list, and so many opportunities to win big. From travel vouchers, grocery vouchers, Alive merch, and more. Alive. Believe in best.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details.
RBC Royal Bank introduces our new Saturday banking services on Saturday, July 17th at Cable Beach, Carmichael, and Prince Charles, operating 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. New services will focus on helping clients with advice-oriented RBC digital banking. Cash will only be available through our ATMs and accepted for deposits via our ATMs or non-stop depository services. If you have questions, call our advice center at 356-8500. Reimagine Saturday services with RBC.
It's so summer with Esso, and that's why we're giving away thousands of dollars in fuel, food, and other fun prizes every week. Simply fuel up at $25 or more. Enter using your receipt, and you could be a winner this summer with Esso. Terms and conditions apply. Visit bettergasmileage.com/its-so-summer or our Facebook page for details. Promotion ends August 29th, 2021. It's fun! Food, fuel, and other great prizes every week. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Your boom pineapple wine, your $1.50 all the time. Your boom pineapple wine, your $1.50 all the time. Turn around and let me see you. Turn around and let me see your boom pineapple wine, your $1.50 all the time. Turn around and let me see you. Turn around and let me see your boom pineapple 50 all the time. I got a new dance, hot like pepper pot. From the old to the young, gonna make your body rock. It's really easy, easy peasy. You can do it anywhere. Jump around like you don't care. Singing, turn around and let me see you. Turn around and let me see your boom pineapple wine, your $1.50 all the time. Turn around and let me see you. Turn around and let me see your boom pineapple wine.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner on this Thursday morning. One more text on this, Laverne. One more. Well, actually, it's two more. We got a tweet. A tweet says, I was always of the view that a child born in the Bahamas to a Bahamian parent is automatically a Bahamian. This is according to the Constitution of the Bahamas. Shame on the government for challenging the ruling, and I look forward to it being confirmed. Okay? And this text here, in the Constitution, only a child born inside a marriage has a father. That is the original intent. That was the law, not just in the Bahamas, but throughout the British Empire. And that's for whatever. But yeah, those were that was the way the world thought in the in the 70s and before. So what? We are of a different view today, right? And what about it? Plus, our Constitution, again, that's pretty clear, right, Laverne? Article 6 there, it seems pretty clear what that language is saying.
Apparently not. Apparently not.
But your case, well, I mean, okay, has a father, fine. But we know that we had, and this is why that was framed as a gender equality referendum, because the rule is different for women. An unmarried Bahamian woman who has a child with a foreigner, that child is going to be a Bahamian. It's not the same for an unmarried Bahamian man. So, but if you want to maintain the marriage thing as making people more worthy of citizenship than others, well then, okay. All right. Yeah, let's move on. Everybody wants to talk about the election and when that's going to be. People getting really excited. There are bets all over the place. We've got an office pool. We've got all kinds of things going on about when the election is going to be called, when the only one man who knows is going to call it. And people saying it's this month or that month or not this year, but next year. And I'm going to prove you right. Like, huh? What? Because like anybody's using anything scientific to base this on. But based on a meeting that was held on Tuesday night, many are saying this election is pretty close. For more on this, take a listen to this report from our Kyle Joaquin.
Now, we understand there was a meeting here at F&M headquarters last night where the Prime Minister basically ready to roll. During a meeting held at F&M headquarters Tuesday night, Minister reportedly rallied the troops, advising the party's candidates to be ready as the time draws near. While Parliament has been adjourned to September 22nd, insiders close to the Prime Minister and to those running the party's re-election campaign have no expectation that the current Parliament will actually meet then. Despite promising a fixed election date on the campaign trail back in 2017, yet another election season is upon us, and only one man knows the date.
PLP has had it for a long time, but now they are with us. We have no intentions of losing any of our seats.
Since campaigning ramped up months ago by both major parties, Minis has denied talks of an early election. However, in some F&M circles, there is widespread circulation that an election will be called in August, and Parliament could be dissolved soon. And if you'd listen back to a statement Minis made in Parliament back in March while refuting something opposition leader Philip Davis said, the Prime Minister indicated that the notice could be as short as 3 weeks.
The election is not due until May of next year. When that changes, the Bahamian populace would know. Be they given 3 weeks notice?
The Boundaries Commission met this morning via Zoom. Back in February, Minis joked in Parliament about the date of a general election not being solely up to him.
Ring the bell. You think everybody ready? Looking good. If you think they're ready, I'll stand here now and ring the bell. I have to be advised by my team, though. This is not a government in isolation.
During an event earlier this month, Minis urged eligible voters to get registered as soon as possible. But it wasn't just the Prime Minister dropping hints. During the budget debate, Deputy Prime Minister Desmond Bannister, while throwing a jab at Pine Ridge MP Frederick McAlpine, hinted that he wouldn't be a sitting MP come November, a sign that an election could be before then.
But Pine Ridge, you've been following, that's interesting. You're going to have a lot of time. You have a lot of time to be able to watch the trial. You have a lot of time. You don't have to come here at all.
There have been multiple signs, even an early May memo for members of the armed forces to prepare. It was something National Security Minister Marvin Dames shut down with the swiftness.
I won't read too deeply into that, as I said before. This is a normal occurrence, and I don't think you should be reading too deeply into that either.
With what will be an unusual election season nearing, some political observers question what would be some of the Minis administration's accomplishments to campaign on. While noting the 4th anniversary back in May, Minis called off several initiatives like free tertiary education. He also said his government lost 3/4 of its time in office dealing with disaster.
Priorities had to be shifted because we had 3 years of destruction. We could have totally ignored the destruction and just stick to your program. But if you did that, your country would be a disaster.
Now again, although there is a lot of speculation, only the Prime Minister knows for sure exactly when is the next general election. Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
I don't know how we feel comfortable saying these things. Everybody's just so casual.
Exactly.
Only the Prime Minister
Just like-
knows. Oh.
Yeah, like real casual. You know what? I'm not playing this speculation game.
It's ridiculous.
Funny to me.
It's not funny.
We should know.
This is
know,
so stupid. We are tired of this. Did you?
And they're laughing.
Yeah.
If you're ready, I'll call it today. Come on, man.
And I know we're going to get.
With these God complexes, man.
That's exactly what it is, Laverne. Exactly what it is.
We need a date.
God or king.
Have a date.
Yes. God or king complex. That's what these people have.
Yeah.
And we're going to have people calling, oh, well, every other prime minister got a chance to call the election when they're ready. Stop your foolishness. Stop it right now.
And
These people are,
then,
it was absolutely, and we were promised
and you
that this was going to be
campaigned on
finished.
the fact that you would have a fixed election date.
And not only that, you campaigned on that, and you campaigned on election reform in terms of campaign financing reform, so many things, and none of that has happened yet. Why were we talking like this when you've not fixed this terrible system? What is the issue? And everyone's laughing as a joke. You're betting you'd have, it's going to be this year because of this is garbage.
I'm not doing it. I'm not speculating. I'm not trying to read into anything and taking notes. Oh, but did you see he smiled when he said that? So maybe it means, no, but I'm not doing any of that because I'm offended as a Bahamian that I do not know when election is going to be.
Only one man knows.
Bahamian should be offended. It was wrong in the past and it's wrong now.
Only one man knows. Only one man knows. Oh, it's so funny. Garbage. Utter garbage. Did you hear this? People are being told not to take vacation. What to do? This is the first time they've been fully vaccinated. They're ready to go. And now, oh no, you can't take vacation because it might be in August. It might be in September. It might be this time. It might be then. We don't know. It might be. So don't go on vacation.
The sun was directly in the sky this morning, so you know what that means.
Yes, he was facing south. He was facing south at the time he said it. Oh my God. Ridiculous.
It's nonsense.
This has to stop. And this is what we are saying. Stop smiling in their faces.
And it's sad because it was supposed to have stopped with this government.
Stop smiling in their faces. Demand these things when you see them. What happened to the fixed election date? What happened to the fixed election date? What happened to the campaign finance reform? What happened to all of these things you promised? I don't want you coming around here talking any nonsense. Fix this stuff. Let's hear what this caller has to say before we have to break for news. Good morning, caller on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Morning, Laverne.
Hi.
You know who I blame for that? The reporter. Because, when you stick a mic in these person's face.
No, you can't blame them.
Yeah, you have to blame them.
No.
Come on.
You blame the politicians. They're the ones who...
only
the politicians.
The politicians for taking us on a ride, right? But I'm going to blame the professional who we put out there to get answers. Because when you're watching MSMU or ABC or any one of the Fox channels, those reporters, they stand their guard. If you hear someone, I'm going to give you 2 or 3 weeks, that's not supposed to be made in writing, pen to paper, fixed day. By now, everybody should have known election is going to be on this month in 2022, okay? So when you would have heard that, you would have said, look here, man, what happened to the fixed day that you promised? Notice it's not a fixed date, You say something, you just let that question rise and everybody,
Well, I think your blame is misplaced. Their job is to tell you what these clowns say, right? It's up to us, the pundits, and you all, the public, to take it further, right? You cannot laugh up in their face when they come around you after doing this nonsense.
It's our fault because we've allowed it to go on.
Yeah, so it is the Bahamian people's fault. And we're going to talk more about it after the break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:17, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got a high-pressure ridge anchored north of the area. That's going to continue to support moderate to fresh winds, while troughing will enhance pockets of shower activity across the islands today. Boaters should be alert for possible waterspout activity, and beachgoers should exercise caution as there's a risk of rip currents at East Coast beaches. And everybody's being asked to remain hydrated and limit outdoor activities due to high heat indices today. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly to mostly sunny, hot, and breezy conditions with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms, mainly offshore, through tonight. Smallcraft caution remains in effect. Smallcraft operators should also exercise caution, be alert for gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Temperature-wise, right now we are at about 82 in Nassau, light rain in some parts of New Providence, 78 in Freeport. We're looking at highs getting up to around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index will make you feel like 105 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, troughing is expected to keep rain chances slightly elevated across the area through Friday, with a marginally drier trend expected across the islands by Saturday. Ahead of that, though, for Friday, tomorrow, look for partly cloudy, hot, and breezy conditions, mainly across the central and southeast Bahamas, with a few scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. Saturday, partly mostly sunny, hot, and a bit breezy in the central and southeastern islands, with a few passing showers and a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. In the tropics, shower activity associated with that non-tropical area of low pressure we told you about yesterday, located several hundred miles southwest of Cape Race in Newfoundland, Canada. But the system is showing a low chance, still only about 10% chance for tropical cyclone formation through the next 5 days. And, of course, no threat to us here. But that is your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. And at 8:20, time for another check of your traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. We've got heavy traffic on Mile Butler Highway from Fire Trail, south of Fire Trail, actually. Those northbound lanes there. Glasgow Road also busy northbound to JFK Drive this morning. Those are your hottest spots. We've also got building traffic on Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road. And some heavy traffic just north of Soldier Road on Blue Hill Road. As usual, northbound to the Independence Drive roundabout there. Traffic's backed up a little bit on Independence Drive this morning, westbound to that roundabout as well. If you're on East Street South, heading northbound, you're going to be noticing that traffic there north of Soldier Road in the northbound lanes and towards that roundabout with the East-West Highway. And just north of that roundabout in the northbound lanes, heading towards Robinson Road. Robinson Road looking congested this morning as well, eastbound, toward that intersection with East Street. Elsewhere, we've got some building traffic on Eastern Road just west of Foxhill Road as you approach Johnson Road, and pockets along Wolf Road at some of the major intersections. Those are your hottest spots for now this time. That's your real-time traffic in the Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, Banking Reimagined.
Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
Yeah, you see? Let's go with this one again. Man! Girl texting me high, woman calling me high. If my girlfriend leave me high and dry, she done made red come in my eyes, blood pressure sky high. Come from here to live, she want me to die. Man, I got girls texting me high, woman calling me high. If my girlfriend leave me high and dry, she done made red come in my eyes, blood pressure sky high. Come from here to live, she want me to die. Why she done hit me once before? Baby, don't do it no more. Cause y'all, you making my heart oh so sore. She tell me I is my own woman. I ain't none of your children. And furthermore, you ain't my husband. That's right.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with Laverne Gardner on this Thursday morning. We are talking about what's in the news, talking about elections. Could it be getting closer? Will the all-knowing one, the one man who knows it all, or who only knows anything? I don't know. What are we calling him now? King? The king? Will he declare that the election is this year? We're asking that question as people are losing their minds, getting very excited, predicting this, but not calling these people out on the fact that they're not living up to their promises.
Right.
Not living up to the promise of fixing
Not
the
at
election
all.
date, of campaign finance reform, of all the things that we needed to
Nothing,
have happen
nothing.
before the election is called. That's what we need to be hearing about. That's what we need to be coming to agreement on, when the election should be held, when the date should be fixed. But nope, no, we're not talking about that. We're just like trying to guess what he meant and laughing.
It's a game. It's a game.
Yep. Somebody said, because we said it before the break, that it's our fault, the Bahamian electorate. And someone says, how is it our fault? And it's our fault because, again, as we talked about before the break, people laugh when he says these things. Oh, it's so funny. I think it's time for us to express our displeasure at this stuff. No more laughing. Like, I'd say boo. Boo when he starts. Everybody just turn around and boo. Yeah, I said it. Or like, suck teeth, whatever it is. But no, we're not going to laugh at this stupidness anymore. This is foolish. People have to put their lives on hold because we don't know. We can't go because there might be an election called during that time. There might be. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense to you? People, I told you before, people aren't hiring because they don't know. We don't know because, whenever the election happens and the other party comes in, you got a mass exodus as all the people who support that party finally now go to work for the government, and all the people who used to work for the government come looking for jobs, so you can't do anything. You got to wait because we're in a limbo stage because we keep doing the same clownish nonsense every 5 years. Yeah. So you got to hold off on everything until the all-powerful one decides. Make sense? Why are we doing this? What is the point?
No.
And we're still talking about the same things we talked about 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 25,
Right.
30
We're
years ago.
still here. We're still here. We just keep, it's just recycling, right? We keep going through this with so many other things, not just election reform and set dates, but we keep going, and there people will go to the polls and they will say, this is wonderful. I mean, these are like simple, basic things. This, and don't tell me you could not fulfill this promise that you made because of a pandemic and because of a hurricane.
Yes, you know that's what they're going to say. Dorian and COVID.
Because you found the time to do other things that you campaigned on, that you recognize. And the mere fact that you campaign on it means that you recognize that these things ought not to be.
Absolutely.
That there should be some sort of reform when it comes to election and financing with these parties. You recognize that. You recognize that in this society in 2021, Bahamians should know every 5 years on March 31st, or every 5 years on the second Tuesday in May is when we have elections. So you recognize that these are all issues that should be addressed. And so you campaign on them and then you turn around and you don't do them.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And then you standing up and everybody's laughing. Oh, if you're ready, I could call it today.
Ring the bell, ring the bell. I think they love saying that.
You
They love
know?
saying that nonsense. What the heck is that? Ring the what? Seriously? Anyway, oh my gosh. All right. Some text messages. We'll get to those callers. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. I want to read this text. They sent it again, but they sent this very early. Want this to be said. Good morning, Dwight. You know when I'll vote again? When I see the following implemented: campaign finance reform, fixed election date, term limit for Prime Minister, Freedom of Information Act, allowing citizens to gamble at casinos. Well, you'll never vote again. Oh, dear. Well, you might as well rip up that voter's card. That's it for you.
So basically, this person says that based on the way that we're going, they're never going to vote.
Oh, well, it was fun. I'm sure you enjoyed it while you had the opportunity. All right. They also asked, can you recall the last time since you were on air and politics wasn't mentioned?
I'm sorry, what was it mentioned?
Politics. Usually when we're talking to a student who's done something, that's the only time it isn't mentioned.
It's probably the only time.
Yeah, that's the only time. And they're also saying us demanding from them is one thing, and when they get it, when we get it, that's another. When they get in there is another story. Yeah, because the demands are we let up on it, like, right? So when you see them, you start asking for other things, like, oh, when are you going to fix this road? When are you going to do that? But you can't let up on the thing that you really were asking for. Every time they see you, they have to be hearing that you're very displeased with the fact that there isn't a fixed election date.
I'm disappointed. I'm let down,
Yeah,
you know?
right.
I'm not smiling with you and doing photo ops and all of that because you've not fulfilled the promises, the commitment that you've made.
Yeah.
You know, and so to a certain extent, we have to continue to voice our displeasure. You know, it's one thing to say, oh, this, we didn't say that we could do it, but these are the things that you articulated.
Right.
These are the things that you said that you would do.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
they can be done.
Absolutely.
In a pandemic, they can be done.
Anytime.
With a natural disaster, those things can still be done.
And don't let the opposition parties off
Tell
on
you,
this either.
oh, there's us, we would have done it.
Oh,
right?
and first of all, you're not even hearing that. So be careful. Watch them too, because like, wait, are you going to do it if you're in there? Or are you going to make this one of the first things you do? Because some of them are very quiet on this fixed election date. Very quiet.
Silent.
Oh boy. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You are on the air. Good morning. Are you there?
Yes, sorry, Dwight, for calling back, but I had to. Dwight, hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Listen, could you name, any of you guys name 3 things that this government promised before they won the general election in 2017 that they fulfilled? Just 3 things. Not anything new that they did, that they promised that fulfilled.
I do believe they said they were going to fix that dump issue. They did say that.
The dump issue is fixed?
It definitely isn't what it used to be. It absolutely, it's a great, more than 100%, 100% improvement.
I understand that.
More than 100%.
Listen to me.
No, there's more. There's more.
Parliament, or when Parliament meets and just giggle and laugh, they think they're going to be able to use during the pandemic when people go to the polls. That's not going to happen. People are watching what you do and say. Okay, what are they going to campaign on? What are they campaigning on? The Prime Minister promised a fixed election date, and he said that was one of his priorities, one of the first things he would have done to date. So that means he is disrupting your lives. What if you had a vacation plan for your family or cruise, and he's telling you now, well, you shouldn't go away because you don't know when the election will be called. It might be called next month, month after next. You know, that is totally wrong, man. That is disrupting the human people's lives.
Yep.
We got to do better than this. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Sure. All right. There's more than 3, but hey, that's not the point. At the moment, we're talking about the fixed election date and when will the election, the great mystery, only one man knows when the election will be called. Yeah. All right. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Are you there? Good morning. Hi.
Yes, good morning, Glenn. How are you?
Doing well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Look, is the question, do we vote? Is it? What is the question?
We're talking about the rumors, the folks who are saying that based on what the Prime Minister's saying, based on the meeting they had on Tuesday night, that the election may be very close, as in people are being advised to get ready. Get ready.
Oh, okay. So the closer is that how far away is it? Okay.
Yes.
Because what I was thinking was that I expect a close election.
You mean the results?
Yeah, I expect for Philip Davis to win and not to win more than by 4 seats, because I don't need a lackadaisical government. You just had that. You don't need no more landslide. Government takes us for granted because.
So how are we going to do that? How are we going to accomplish?
Well, how are we going to do it?
You're going to issue a list of who should be elected, and then you say 15 for them, and for this. How are you going to do it?
To tell the truth, here inside the inner city, we've got a great MP, right? But his leader is Mr. Menace. We don't think we're going to vote for him because Menace is his leader. So that.
And where's that going to? Where's
that going to get me? No prime minister that named Hubert Alexander Menace.
Okay.
Okay.
But
thanks for letting me share.
you may lose your good MP, and then you'll be complaining about your MP after that.
Well, ain't nothing like good hard work. We will just fix the next one.
Oh, is that how that works? I see.
Yes, sir.
I see. Well, thank you very much, caller. Or we could fix the system, although that won't be happening anytime soon. But we could fix it. Start the work on the system so that what you do in your constituency won't determine who is the leader of the country. We could try that. Why don't we try that one? We get what we want, as opposed to default by right? This thing. Oh gosh. Well, this is what we get. Oh boy. Okay. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller. Good morning.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi. Good morning.
I started to call back, but I called Otis calling every morning. That's the first time I ever could agree with him. I got there from the 25 seats. I don't want no landslide. Landslide. Too many people to please.
Well, I don't think you're agreeing with him.
I think government for the big people, not for the outsiders, and not for the black and white being in which folks work.
So again, how are we going to do that? How are we going to do that? How are we going to?
All the members of the parliament who did a good job answer their phone and talk to people, you know.
Well, that's.
Big show, they get mashed up.
You'd be surprised. Some people for whom they answered the call, they didn't answer for other people, so it's going to be very tricky.
Like I said, I be on the ground every day. And I want people that DNA is. And my thing is, it's the first time voters, them young ones, like my last kids. You know what I mean? They're the ones who change government. And all of the discussion, there for them who talk, they ain't going to vote. They say, do it then, stay home. You want to see what happened the last time?
Is it really the young people?
That's why the young people that change government.
Oh, yeah?
40% of the people are, 40% of the voters in this country are PLP, 40% of the voters are FNM.
Oh.
The next 20%, just go to voters and full-time voters. Anybody learn no party like that no more, right?
Okay.
Trust me, I know what I'm saying.
All right. Okay. I hear you. Well, I mean, would you consider me young? Because I don't think I voted for the same party twice in consecutive elections. I think maybe one time I've done that, but all right. In all the times I've been voting since what, 97? Only once consecutive. Yeah. So young people, okay. Well, whatever. Well, so we think. So we think we know these things, but a lot of variables out there. A lot of reasons why people do things. Good morning. Call you on the air. Hi. Good morning. I hear something.
Good morning, Glenn.
Hi.
Yeah, we have this thing. We have all a bunch of. We just have a lot of colloquials.
You're very low.
Yeah, I said we have a lot of things that we just repeat over and over again, and we don't think about what we say.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us walk around saying, like, it ain't what you do, but how you do. Whereas, however you do, it turns out what you do. And this superstition seems to be the order of the day. I don't know. Maybe the plan is to just dangle the carrot and then have all these candidates spend all their money early so that when the real date is called, they're broke, right? And this is so sad that we still have to keep going over this evil all over again. We've been associating someone called the devil as being the greatest evil, but I think it's really not the devil. It's our ignorance. that's really perpetrating this, all the evil that you find in society. But there is hope, my friend. There are a group of people now who are going to make a change and who are totally fed up with both of these parties, and they're going to just welcome in a brand new day. I'm looking forward to that. Trust me, I'm looking forward to that so badly. Thanks for taking my call.
All right, interesting. Thank you very much. Let's read some messages. We'll get to that call in a second. Someone says here, is there history behind the saying ringing the bell? I don't know, but it's annoying. I don't know what it is. Probably. I'm sure there is. I don't even care to find out. It just is like, what is the point? This one says here, journalists need to push for a sit-down with the one man. He's just a man. Ask and tell us if he says no. Well, they're always asking. We're always asking. But there's always that laughter, and then he's got to boil fish or, you know what I mean? Yeah. This one says here, if Bahamians, Jaffa would let you all know when elections will be held.
Wow.
Okay. This one says here, the top 10 issues Bahamians care about. 1, I would fall off my chair if campaign finance reform or fixed election date made the top 100. Oh, yeah? Only the eggheads think that a fixed election date would make anything better. Child, please. Things will still be put on hold, and there will be more stagnation and turnover. Really?
We should have a fixed election date. I don't care what anybody says. It's a simple thing. You should know when you are going to vote. You should just know. This, it could be tomorrow. It could be next month. It could be 3 months from now. It could be 6 months from now. It could be next year. Oh, but maybe not. It could be December 20. And then people trying to guess, you know, do you think? Okay, well, maybe. Nonsense.
Only the eggheads think that a fixed date would make anything better. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I guess. So you all like it like this? That's the point, right? You like it. You like the guessing because it brings some thrill. You like for that guy to have the power. You like it. And that's what people want. They also want to be king. One day I'll get to call the election when I feel like it. I'm going to play them when I see them suffering. Then I'll call it. I know they can't. Oh, okay. So that's, hey, man, I need to get with the program or get on a train out of here, right? One of them. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Laverne.
Hi.
C. Allen Johnson.
See, Alan, are you an egghead? Where do you fall on this matter? You think it won't make any difference at all, or can't?
I think I might be one of the big heads.
Oh, okay.
Just let me first give condolences to a very dear friend of mine, Kendall Casey, family, and his friends, his passing. Charlie will be most surely missed, especially with those of us young Grand Bahama. Dwight, these are all related, you know. These were promises that was made to us: transparency, accountability, anti-corruption, integrity, term limits, fixed election dates, campaign finance reform. These were all part of an agenda that somehow seemed to be abandoned. I would like to believe that the next time Dr. Minnis, he will set the election date as early as next week. Not to set the date as early as next week, but actually give us the date, which he could actually state from today. He could actually state that it's going to be May, June, July, August of next year. He can state it now. And so, without even passing the law, just get up and tell us the provost marshal or whatever the maximum amount of time, he can state it, and then hit the provost marshal the maximum amount of time that he has to come and do it. And then just put all of this to rest and come back with an agenda that he has promised. Here it is that we are in the middle of the fourth wave. The doctors, PAHO, everyone is telling us that without a progressive plan of opening the economy, we could be putting our populations at risk. Here it is that you have the doctors are saying that Princess Margaret Hospital and others are at capacity, but we don't have any strategy to accommodate the the fall away of the emergency plan. It's not like we want the emergency plan, but in 18 months, we should have had some form of strategy on how we're going to live with a post-COVID environment without the emergency plan. The laws haven't been planned. We don't see any laws on the agenda. The only thing one could seek to know that there must be something that is actually forcing this administration to go into this type of environment. Considering that if we re-elect Dr. Minnis on the day after the election, he could go right back to the Governor General and put us back under lockdown without any form of plan to deal with the COVID environment. So re-electing him doesn't change anything. But, again, so far, I think the Progressive Liberal Party may be the only one so far that I heard promise that they will do away with it, and we can hold them in regards to that. But one of the most important things is that we are going into an election with a government that is yet to come back to us with an economic recovery plan beyond soundbite.
Yeah.
And going saying, things are getting better. I think you could play that song by the singing Bishop. Things are getting better, 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 better. And so, but just let me say this though, we must consider all of these things in our discussion. Because the fact is that we are in a financial hurricane of one that's not been seen. Category 6, you could put it, and the government is facing loan challenges with the fact that no certainty in the economic picture and strategy, anything of that sort. Citizens facing housing insecurity, health insecurity, food insecurity, and yet you have a government that is simply playing games, or the leader of the country that's simply playing games and giving people any type of instructions.
Yeah, lots of challenges. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We got to take a break. When we come back, more of your messages. Laverne, I sent you that one. You think I can read that?
No.
That's just a horrible text message. You
please don't.
texters really need to. Oh my Lord, that I don't know.
Yeah. Let's just leave that.
That's just not cool. That's
No.
just not cool. Wow. Anyway, let's take a break. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
What you promised to me? Give me what is mine. What you promised to me? Promises is all I hear. You promise that you will be my rocking chair. You promise to send my rocket to the moon. You promise to melt the fat in my bone. You promise me dollar, you only give me a quarter. When you will run dry, you can miss this water.
The summer you deserve is here at Alive. Capture more moments and go further with our prepaid plans for everyone. Roam free with postpaid and stay connected with MiFi on the go anywhere, anytime. We do it better with more device offerings, accessories, exclusive deals with the list, and so many opportunities from travel vouchers, grocery vouchers, Alive merch, and more. Alive. Believe in best.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO. Growing wealth for future generations.
Travel less, but vacation more by indulging yourself and your family with the ultimate staycation getaway at Atlantis. Sleep in, relax, play, go out. Say yes to a fantastic staycation in your very own paradise just over the bridge. For reservations, call 363-6483 or visit Atlantis Local on Facebook for details.
RBC has been growing with the Bahamas for over 110 years with new ways to bank better. We are committed to deepening our relationship with existing clients and forging new ones in the future with new products and services and investment in the community, youth, and education initiatives. We are here to help you grow.
We're here to help you flourish. We're RBC.
RBC Royal Bank. Banking reimagined.
It's so summer with Esso, and that's why we're giving away thousands of dollars in fuel, food, and other fun prizes every week. Simply fuel up with more. Enter using your receipts, and you could be a winner this summer with Esso. Terms and conditions apply. Visit bettergasmileage.com/It's So Summer or our Facebook page for details. Promotion ends August 29th, 2021. It's fun! Food, fuel, and other great prizes every week. The Esso brand is a trademark of ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or btcbahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Let's face it, in an increasingly competitive market, your business needs a competitive edge. That means offering your employees the benefits they want. Give them the benefit of retiring their way with the RF Multi-Employer Pension Plan. Choose from some of the best performing investment funds in the market while taking advantage of low administrative costs and professional management. Whether you're a team of 2 or 2,000, our pension specialists can design a plan for you. Contact us at pensions@rfgroup.com to learn more about the RF Multi Money at Work.
There's only one way to have a better morning. How? Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage, egg, and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I got papers, you done signed. You promised to have and hold me and be mine.
We're back here with Morning Blend on Dwight Strachan, along with Laverne Gardner on Morning Blend this morning. Ah, boy, I'm still trying to get over that text. Oh boy, I think a person's just trying to cause trouble, Laverne. Trying to get me in trouble for reading. I don't know. That's something else. All right, so let's read some more of these messages. Someone says here, Dwight and Laverne, Election Day should be the second Tuesday of May every 5 years. This will be consistent with the international cry from Mayday. Help, Mayday. Okay. Well, the last few have been in May. Seems to be a trend. Maybe. I know there's complaints, though, sometimes about the beginning of May, especially being really close to the Lent period, and most of the parties usually agree not to campaign during Lent, but that could handicap them in some way, they say. Well, at least they try not to do rallies during May. Are we still going to do rallies? If they lift the order, the emergency order, we're still doing rallies. We're still going out there to hear the nonsense, the shallow, vapid speeches, and the jeers and the empty promises, and drink up that we're still those people? I wonder. Laverne, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying I really hope that we don't do any rallies. That there are no rallies. No rallies.
I think that's what a lot of people look forward to. That's the most fun they have, and I guess that's the draw for election season. This carnival-like atmosphere of a rally. It's very sad, but nobody's listening, and they just like the music and the entertainment and the dancing, and the rallying crowd cries, the shouting, and that gets them excited. But what do you anyway, whatever. There's a text. They're asking for you to get vaccinated online, but no clinics are available, so we're just spinning our wheels. Well, there's an article in today's National Guardian about Loyola Hall. You need to make an appointment. They've got a few left to make an appointment. No walk-ins, but we are hoping that there'll be more in by the end of the month. So, again, we're going to be talking about that in Morning Blend Business in just a few minutes, and employers not being able to force employees to take COVID tests. We're going to talk about that and want to hear your views on that as well. This one says here, I'm also an egghead, and I accept responsibility for not doing a survey to determine what citizens want. We must all do better. Sometimes some people don't know what they need. Sometimes some people don't know what they need. So, right, and they may think it won't make a difference, but that you shouldn't do it just because the people think that's not one of the things they want, right? Doesn't mean that. Here is a text. What did I do with it? Trust me, the Prime Minister and these political parties love exactly the way our outdated systems are set up. All of the promises the current Prime Minister has made to the Bahamian people, like fixed election date, campaign finance reform, and strengthening our sovereign wealth fund regime, should have been done within the first 3 months coming into governance. However, we can see for years later, nothing has been accomplished. Sadly, it speaks to we as a people to continue steeping into the nonsense and allowing them to get away with these things. It is no wonder our country still operates in a limbo state. All right.
Isn't that sad, though?
Very sad. This one says here, the real problem is the opposition has no high moral ground. Brave can't complain about fixed election dates nor freedom of information because he had years to implement it too. When the FNM loses, they are going to complain about it as well. They have leaders who lack integrity. Yeah, this is what something. Maybe the FNM doesn't have the campaign money and has to call election before the restrictions end. This won't happen in August because they can't fund the rallies. So catch everybody off guard, call the election early so that they don't have to pay for rallies. And, okay. And then what will that do? That will... All right. And don't be fooled. They will find the money for those things.
They always do.
They will find. You will be... What? Oh, the money will be found. The money may not be found to pave certain roads and to fix certain other things, but they'll find the money for that. Elaborate on who's the better candidate, Minnis or Brave? Candidate for what? You mean if you're in their constituency? I'm not, so I don't know. But if you're asking me who I would vote for if I could directly vote for my leader, boy. Anyway, good morning, caller. You're on the air.
That's why don't
go there. What's the point, right? That's just foolish. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight, and good morning, Mrs. Carton. How y'all doing?
Doing well. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good. And good morning to the nation. Just 4 quick points, Dwight, regarding what you were discussing. I made note of them so that I can go through them quickly. As it relates to what's happening with this government, and even if we knew the election date, Dwight, our country is near financial ruins under the leadership of Hubert Alexander Minnis, right? Minnis government nearly doubled our national debt.
No, Anton, we were running out of time. You can't do that. Yeah, we know. Let's talk about the date.
I'm saying it to make my point, Dwight.
Yeah, we get it. You think they're horrible.
It doesn't matter, Dwight.
We've known that. But let's talk about the date and the issue and the election when you think it's going to be. Let's talk about that. We know they're horrible. They're horrible. Yes, you said that. You said that every day. But let's talk about the date.
Nicolette?
Yeah, we can hear you.
It doesn't matter what date the election is set, Dwight. The fact of the matter is...
They got to go. Okay.
The fact... No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying, and that's not what I said. The fact of the matter is, before COVID, before Dorian, we were experiencing record-level tourism numbers, right? And our national debt was still around... Our national deficit, was still around $500 million, right? So we were still unable to pay our bills. It's nowhere in this world and it is not how we plan, tourism is going to be returned to where it was pre-Dorian, okay? And as a matter of fact, we would need to double the record level tourism numbers in order to be able to pay our bills efficiently or expand the economy into different sectors, which this government, underneath Hubert Minnis, does not have a plan or know how to do. Therefore, Dwight, they're going to make some really difficult decisions if they are reelected. In other words, they're going to have to fire civil servants, they're going to have to increase taxes, they're going to have to sell off our ministries or corporations, they're going to have to sell off our assets in order to suffice the international financiers. If this government is reelected, behemoths, you all believe things are hard in this country right now, you all are going to see the dark stone ages underneath this dishonest, deceitful, misleading, incompetent African government.
Okay, thank you very much. Wow.
So, in light of all of that, can we still have a fixed election date, though? I just wanted to know. Is that possible? Because I'm not saying who's going to be reelected or who needs to. All I'm saying is, can we have a fixed election date? Can we have campaign finance reform? Can we have a true freedom of information, not just an office that's open but not functional because you still need 6 months of training and it's only staffed by 2 people? Like, can we have these things? Notwithstanding what Anton has predicted will happen, but can we still get those things?
You're being an egghead.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Don't do that.
Yes, I realize.
Yeah.
I realize that. I apologize.
Yeah,
I withdraw those questions.
Okay. Let's take these calls really quickly. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Caller, good morning. Are you there? All right, let's take this one. Good morning, caller.
All right, I support rallies. I love rallies. You get a lot of clarification on policies.
What? What type of policies? As in who can dance?
Whatever the policy the party's given, right? You get to understand it more.
But I mean, promises. That's what you mean. Clear articulation of the promises.
Most major
because
countries
policies.
have rallies so they can express their policies,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Our rallies take on a different. Our rallies are a little bit different. Whole new songs and dance moves and promises that are
catchy
rarely.
slogans.
Yes.
Yeah, but most of their promises from the rallies we carry out.
Who?
Most of their promises from both parties' rallies is we carry out.
Most?
It'll be the manifesto, our plan. A lot of this is being government.
That's very funny. Okay. All right.
Follow it, right? You should join this. Follow it.
It's not most. It's not most. Many, but not most. Let's not try that. Many
Perhaps,
unfulfilled.
Like, as an egghead, you were not attending the correct rally.
Perhaps, but we know it's not. It's never most, and that's why they always come back and say, "I need my other term. I need at least 2 to finish what we said." Right? So, and hey, that's fine. You could make a case, and maybe people will say, "Yeah, you're almost there. We like the direction you're going." Maybe. But let's not fool ourselves. A lot of things, and we've been told that from many politicians on multiple sides of the coin, that we say these things to get your vote. They've come out and actually said it. You got to say these things to entice them to vote for you. So let's not be foolish. When we come back, does your employer have the right to make you pay for your own COVID test to go to work? We're going to talk about that in Morning Blend Business. Stay with us.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Thursday, July 15th, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. I am Dwight Strachan, joined by Laverne Gardner on this Thursday, and we are talking about the workplace and employers. Can they force employees to pay for COVID tests, those employees who refuse to get vaccinated? Our Paige McCartney wrote about this in Wednesday's Guardian Business section, and there's another story in today's Tribune. We'll get to that in a bit. But here is what Chairman of Council Robert Farquharson says. This is what he says on this matter. He said this week that the law couldn't be more clear on the matter of employers requiring employees to pay for their own COVID-19 tests instead of getting vaccinated. In recent months, since the rollout of vaccines in the country, various employers have mandated that employees either get vaccinated or pay for a rapid antigen test every week to show proof that they do not have COVID-19. Pointing to Section 9 of the Health and Safety at Work Act, Farquharson said employers do not familiarize themselves with the law, and as a result, the Department of Labor has had to intervene on many of these instances. Farquharson telling Guardian Business, quote, "The law is clear on that. Section 9 particularly. If you look at Section 9 of the Health and Safety at Work Act, there is no question there is a clear position. Section 9 makes it specific. In fact, it prohibits an employer. Section 9 states that, quote, no employer shall levy or permit to be levied on any employee of his any charge in respect of anything done or provided in pursuance of any of the provisions of this act." So the law is specific to the employer. You cannot have an employee pay for these things. Employers are not familiar with the law. Employers are not familiar with the provisions of the Health and Safety at Work Act. So once the matter is brought to the attention of officials in the Department of Labor and the Ministry of Labor, we try to guide them towards what it says and to seek advice from their legal advisors because the law couldn't be more clear. Farquharson also saying that while a number of complaints have been filed, instead of pushing the matters through to the courts or industrial tribunal, the labor authorities have sought to have the employers resolve the issues internally after consultation. He said, quote, "The Department of Labor has received a number of complaints where employers are trying to force employees to pay for these tests, and that's prohibited. We're trying to advise employers. We point out to them what the law says, and in most, if not all of the cases, the employers have refrained from having employees pay for these tests. Now, I suspect that there will still be some employers who will try to force their employees to take the test, and if that's done, I can assure you that the matter will be before the tribunal or before the courts. Section 9 of the Health and Safety Act at Work Act is specific to that. It prohibits an employer from having an employee be charged for that." Now, Farquharson says that while the National Tripartite Council has not yet taken a definitive position on the issue of employers forcing employees to get vaccinated or provide weekly negative COVID-19 tests, it has reviewed the labor laws in the Bahamas and a number of other Caribbean jurisdictions to provide and to develop a comprehensive policy position. All right. They haven't taken a definitive position now. We haven't quite heard that from the government either. So that is interesting there. So that was in the...
They've been really silent, and, to me, that speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's frightening, actually. But that was in the Nassau Guardian yesterday. Now, this is very interesting. Today's Tribune, this angle that the Tribune takes is interesting. This is in their business section. The National Tripartite Council's vice chairman, so Robert Farquharson is the chairman, and they went to the vice chairman. The vice chairman is warning that, quote, "a lot of employers are going to be very upset to find that they cannot mandate non-vaccinated staff pay for their own weekly COVID-19 tests." Peter Gowdy, who sits on the body dealing with all labor-related matters in the Bahamas, told Tribune Business that, quote, "the law's the law in confirming that the Health and Safety at Work Act forbids employers from imposing any financial levy on staff to ensure they comply with its stipulations." While the council has yet to adopt any formal position on the matter, Mr. Gowdy said that he and its chairman, Robert Farquharson, had discussed the matter and agreed that the Act Section 9 effectively bars companies from requiring non-vaccinated staff to pay out of their own salaries. Gowdy Before we get to that, the section states that, of course, as you heard, no employer shall levy or permit to be levied on any employee of his any charge in respect of anything done or provided in pursuance of any of the provisions of the Act, while employers can still require non-vaccinated workers to take regular tests. Mr. Gowdy confirms that the law requires the company and not the employee to cover this cost associated with it. He goes on to say, quote, "It's the law, it is what it is." And Gowdy is also the head of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation's Labor Division. He said, it says you can't do that, and employers are going to have to factor that in. I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't like it or do not agree with it, but if that's the law of the country, it is what it is. It's the law of the land, and you're going to have to follow it. I'm sure there are a lot of employers that are going to be very upset, but if it's the law, it's the law. There's nothing else I can say. He's also saying that while the cost burden for COVID-19 employee testing must now be absorbed by the employer as opposed to the employee, this development and the fact that companies also cannot make it mandatory for workers to become vaccinated will likely result in changes to contracts for new hires going forward.
Right.
And we've been hearing that for a long time. Gowdy saying, quote, what it's going to do is make employers put different rules in for new employees. That's what it's going to do. The rules after the fact, but you can change the rules for new employees. That's what's going to happen. All right. So let's talk about all of this. What do you make of it? Do you think that is fair for the employer to have to bear that responsibility for an employee that refuses to get vaccinated? It is not a mandatory vaccine. It is your choice. That's what we've been told, right? But should your workplace require you to pay for the vaccine? Or do you agree with what is being said here that's the law is very clear on that? You can't do that. The boss has got to pay for it, and as often as the boss requires it. Let's hear your views. 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Should we see this as a victory for workers, or does nobody win in a situation like this? What do you make of it? Or does everybody win in a situation like this? I don't know.
I don't know if you can see it as a victory, but at least those employees who were facing that maybe their employer had sent them a letter to say, we're not going to pay for this anymore. You will be responsible or whatever. So at least now they know that the law is on their side. Mm-hmm. And, the question is now, what are they going to do? Right?
Right.
So this can easily become a back and forth because employers could just say, well, we're not paying. They could refuse to pay.
And then what?
The law says that they should.
You can't terminate the person for that. I mean, right. What do you do?
So.
Yeah. All right. So
I just foresee it's going to be a big back and forth. But as we heard, the law is the law, and you may not like it, but this is the law. Mm-hmm. And nobody should be exempt from the law. I think a lot of times we tend to handle these employers, especially foreign investors, with kid gloves. But if that's what the law says, then that is what it says.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. What do you make of this? What do you say?
Good morning.
Hi.
Yeah, the money that you get. Like, it's very simple, like your host, your host said. The law is the law. You see? All we got to do is go by the law. Article 1, Chapter 3 of the Constitution states everything that we understand. And Robert Parkinson knows this. You realize, Dwight, I could catch the common cold from you? Do you realize that, right?
Of course. It's very contagious.
Okay. Do you realize I could catch the common flu from you? Okay, good. So when they make a law that restricts all of that, then we could look at the COVID-19 law. And that's what the court of law would probably rule. in the employees' favor. That if you could catch the cold or the flu or other stuff like that in the workplace, then COVID-19 probably falls within that same category. But it's something I really wanted to raise the alarm on, and Dwight. That's just a little bit off the course, but it won't take too long. I frequent the Queen Victoria's staircase on a regular basis and talk with some of the tour guides there. Yesterday I was there talking with them, and some tourists came up the steps, and the tour guides didn't say anything to them, so the tourists asked the tour guide what was, some questions involving the steps and the area. The tour guide in turn told the tourists that he cannot give them a tour anymore, or he cannot give them the history anymore because it's involving tips that the tourists tip the tour guide for doing such a good job. The antiquities monument bosses call his boss and tell them not to give the tourists a tour, the tours and history no more because of tips. And Dwight, something got to be done with that. The agri them working hard to try to get this tourist product back where it's supposed to be, and they just set such a stupid rule not to give the tourists the history. We had to tell the tourists they got to go by fish fry or John Watlin's history yesterday or somewhere else because the people on the fort St. Castle tell them don't do that no more.
Wow.
That's supposed to work, right?
That is crazy. We're going to look into that one. That is very disturbing.
Yeah, I just want to sound that now. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. We've got some messages here. Boy, that is something else. This text here. The issue will end up in courts if the pandemic lingers, and then we will know what the provision means. Okay. Again, as they all say, it's very clear. But, I wouldn't be surprised if it is challenged. This one says here, at the end of the day, the cost to the company will be passed on to the consumers. What I don't understand is that not all customers will be vaccinated, so why force employees?
That's a good point. Are you requiring everyone that comes into your business to provide either a negative COVID test, or are you requiring them to be fully vaccinated before they can enter your establishment?
I think a lot of people are trying to cover their bases, right? Like, so you can't come back and try to sue us because you think one of these employees here, if you misheard that one of them is unvaccinated, and think as you go back through all the people you've encountered, realize that this is somebody who wasn't vaccinated and try to say that this place caused you to get COVID. Perhaps that perhaps is one of the reasons. I don't know. But
again, I'm just saying though, in covering your bases, are you requiring that of your customers? Yeah. Because your customers can
also
come
give
in
the employee COVID
and present a danger, be a risk to your employees.
Yep.
A customer who may be COVID positive may come in, and then what?
Very true.
So
yep.
If you think about it like that.
Yep, absolutely. There's a lot of things to think about there. And costs being passed on. That is right. And potentially reduction or elimination of bonuses and raises if the employer has to swallow those costs. That could impact a lot of things. Upgrades to the building or to the business, perhaps that as well. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. You're on the air.
You guys doing, man?
Good morning.
Yeah, maybe they should take some of the travel visa money and pay for these workers. Cool. Yeah. But seriously though, if the government forces you to pay for travel visa and to take a test to re-enter your country, the employer looking at that, the employer, looking at if the government allowing us to pay, and why should they carry the cost themselves? But I think this is where we are at a crossroad in terms of establishing maybe a new pandemic type law, which they should be looking at now. And I think the emergency orders has to run its course because you never factor in things like that. you clashing with these orders, you clashing with the regular constitution, the regular laws in Bahamas now. This blindsided them. They on basically vacation, no house. For you to update legislation. That's what they're supposed to be doing, Dwight.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be passing legislation to say, hey, man, this is what you do when there's a pandemic. This ain't no common cold or no flu. Like the gentleman calling, hey, you talking about highly contagious disease. But then you can go and you can argue. It's always an interpretation on where you can argue stuff, for the benefit and employees, they got to work. And now you have them carrying the cost to get to work where they don't want to be vaccinated. They don't want to be vaccinated, and it's for emergency use. So if it's for emergency use, the vaccination, I'm vaccinated too, But if it's for emergency use, then and they don't want to take it, then someone should carry that cost for them to be tested to return to work. And I feel that you should not deny an employee the right to go to work, and carry that cost to take a test every week. It gets expensive, and But definitely, I think they should pass legislation for pandemic, so we'll know when we get in a situation like they had enough time, man.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. Well, I know people have been saying it that people in food services, people in medical services should be vaccinated. What should we do in situations like that? Should they not be required to? And if we have a situation if you are led to believe that only new hires you can be made to do these things, we've seen this before where people let everybody go and then hire them back. And then the new thing in your contract is, well, now you've got to be vaccinated or take this test every week or something, right? So how do we avoid a situation like that from happening?
Right. But I'm trying to find a loophole.
Yeah.
And then, the thing of it is, at this stage, taking this vaccine is still an optional thing. I know that sometimes it doesn't appear that way based on some of the rules over the holidays and stuff, but that's a different topic, but it's still optional. And, just you mentioning those who work in the food industry, those who frontline workers, it's still optional. We at this point, and so it is left up to the individual to make that choice.
Yeah.
But I think you brought up a good point when you said employers can also, if they're going to absorb the cost, it's gonna be passed onto the consumer somehow, because it always is. But also it may impact the employee. I can just see a memo coming out right now. We know we're supposed to give a 3% increase, but it's down to 1% due to additional costs incurred.
You mean negative 1%?
I can, and then we have a whole other issue.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Or they're going to say we have to cut back on staff because of the mounting costs associated with paying for COVID tests.
For employees who wish to be not vaccinated. Yep. I'm sure many have thought about this already. So as the previous caller says, what are we going to do? This is the time for the lawmakers to be out there to create some legislation to protect employers and employees in situations like this, right? Let's take this call here. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning again, Dwight and Palm.
Laverne.
The vaccination and the employment. With reference to the employers and the employees. The caller just now raised some good points, all right? And one of them I want to highlight, where he explained that it appears as though the government hasn't thought this thing through to these levels of considerations. And clearly the government has not, right? But there are people who has, and I'm one of those who would have advised the government over a year ago on other shows, but also through writing, with regards to what this thing is going to boil down to in terms of cost and how the government can neutralize that cost. And the government is the only entity in the country as a matter of fact, that has the ability to neutralize the cost. But the problem is that the government has an incompetence in procuring the testing, whether it be the RT-PCR testing or whether it be the antigen testing. And if the government had the ability and had the competence to be able to procure the requisite levels of antigen and RT-PCR testing as a public entity, then it can give the employers and the employees the option of coming to public services to access these costs at an extremely reduced cost or at no cost at all, which would then provide for the employers to be able to continue to seek out the best methods and approaches to provide a safe and healthy environment for all persons to come into, whether it be the employees, whether it be persons who come in to support the business, or whether it be international guests coming into the country. But what are you saying, Dwight?
Well, I was wondering, I mean, but somebody has to bear that cost, so that'll be the taxpayers then. So we have to pay for people who refuse to get vaccinated every week to get tested to go to work every time.
And Dwight, and you're absolutely correct, and I would have written to that, stating that we need a sunset clause from the government, as a matter of fact, whereas until such time, scientifically, as the medical community has produced a vaccine sufficient to keep us safe against COVID-19 and its variants, until such time as a vaccine is in the marketplace that's commonplace, that everyone can access free of charge, similar to other vaccines now, or at very minimal cost, because the government subsidizes the vaccines nonetheless. Until such time, the government has to play a critical and pivotal role in ensuring that the access is there. But Dwight, we're having a problem. The government cannot begin to think at that level. They can't even procure the level of vaccinations that we require in this country to reach herd immunity. They cannot even provide the level of testing that we need to identify where COVID-19 is in our society. And so, Dwight, we are having advanced conversations, but the actions and the ability of the government of the Bahamas cannot match the level of content that are required, because they are acting or they are conducting themselves out of a position of weakness and or a level of incompetence.
Okay. All right, Anton. Thank you very much. All right. Let's take this call, and then we're going to take a break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Hi, good morning.
Dwight and your guest.
Hi.
I just have a question in reference to the test and so forth. Now, I heard the lady mention after Mr. Parkinson said what he said last night in reference to law about employers when you hire new employees to put these certain provisions in the contract so that they won't have to be obligated to pay for these tests. Is that legal? Could they do that in reference to it being, if it is in fact the law, right?
Yeah.
How
no,
could
we've been hearing that.
You're hiring someone to work in your establishment where it is the law that they're required to supposedly pay for these tests. So how is it that you're going to
not that part. The fact that they would have to be vaccinated or would have that they'd have to be vaccinated in order to work there.
Right. I see what you're saying.
We are only hiring vaccinated people. They could do that with new hires, although I still think that could be challenged. That could be challenged as well. If it's not a mandatory vaccine, how can you tell people you have to be vaccinated?
Right, because I'm saying I haven't seen so far that have done this in reference to with some restaurants, the employees must take this test or be vaccinated or they don't have a job. I haven't seen, I don't know if you can correct me, Dwight, or the lady, I don't know, I missed your name.
Laverne, my co-host Laverne Gardner. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. Has anyone actually went to the courts and challenged this as yet? Anything as yet? I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
We've had the Director of Labor on. We've had the Minister of Labor on. We've had the Tripartite Council on. There's lots of talk. They're wondering. They're looking at the laws. That's what we've been told. Everybody's examining and going to see what can be done and what's what. But that hasn't As far as we know, that hasn't happened as yet. That it's gone before the court or the tribunal, the industrial tribunal. But if you hear what Mr. Gowdy and what Mr. Farquharson is saying, they see that it is on the horizon. Obviously, someone's going to say, we got to challenge this. It could be employers, it could be employees. But things are going to get into that murky territory, clearly. All right, let's take a break. I just want you to know we're getting reports of an accident near the six-legged roundabout. That's near JFK Drive, and it's backing up traffic. It is backing up traffic big time, so you might want to avoid that area. And still very heavy traffic on Miles Butler Highway and Gladstone Road at this hour. So keep that in mind. If you're out on the streets, you might want to avoid that area. Carmichael's not going to be much use to you, though. It's still busy eastbound as well. So a lot of traffic this morning, even at this hour. We'll be back with more Morning Blend business here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Tory tract, then vital organs you attack. Pain or a calamity, sorrow for humanity. COVID-19, COVID-19.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAL, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Enjoy an elevated mobile experience with BTC, giving you
unlimited talk for the best conversations, unlimited data for all your online fun,
and unlimited roaming to stay connected while overseas.
For just $50 per line.
Unlock unlimited mobile talk, data, and roaming when you sign up for BTC Superfast Fiber Internet with speed starting at 100 megabits per second. Enjoy more great savings and value. Upgrade or sign up today. Visit any BTC store or BTCBahamas.com. Conditions apply.
Turn the keys to your own home with CIBC First Caribbean. We'll give you time to relax when you move in mortgage payments and commitment fees. Get up to 95% financing on your mortgage and a pre-approved Visa Gold or Platinum credit card with 5,000 bonus reward points and more. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/realtors-hub to connect with a realtor to make the home search easier. Finance your new home base with CIBC First Caribbean. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for details.
It takes a village to raise a child, and it takes each and every one of us to grow the Bahamas. On the clock, we dive into the stories, we identify the issues, and we engage the people, organizations, and institutions that keep the country running. On the Clock with Aaron Green, weekdays 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. here on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Here's what's happening. The Ministry of Environment confirming that the licenses held by Challenger Energy Group, formerly Bahamas Petroleum Company, have expired. The oil company announcing earlier this year that it was still hoping to find commercial quantities of oil in the Bahamas and apply to extend its 4 southern licenses for an additional 3-year drill or drop exploration period. The ministry saying that the licenses expired, though, on June 30th. When contacted for comment yesterday, Minister of Environment and Housing Ramal Ferreira saying the company's outstanding fees with the government have to be resolved before it can go any further. He told Guardian Business that, quote, from our perspective, with the issue of the outstanding fees, that would certainly have to be addressed before anything else can be considered. Now that the licenses have, the government has maintained that all the oil The Oil Explorer has not paid its rental fees since 2017. Earlier this year, the company said it was engaged in a reconciliation process with the government to resolve a dispute over how much BBC actually owes the public treasury. With mounting calls for the government to be proactive and move ahead with establishing its own corporate tax before international bodies lay the hammer on them to do so, senior government officials saying that while discussions are ongoing, no decision will be made just yet. Earlier this month, the government endorsed the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development's proposed G20 OECD inclusive framework on base erosion and profit shifting to reform the global taxation system, which calls for a global minimum corporate income tax, with a minimum rate of at least 15%. When asked if the government will adopt this rate before the end of the year, Attorney General Carl Bethel saying Wednesday that they don't expect to make a move before the rest of the world does. Offshore financial centers like the Bahamas, which have zero or very low corporate taxes, stand to be impacted the most by the proposal. However, local financial experts have long called for the Bahamas to implement its own corporate tax before the heavy hand of global financial watchdogs forces the jurisdiction to do so. Tourism officials announced a nation representing smaller tourism stakeholders will be formally launched next month. The Bahamas Association of Shore Experiences is being formed by the Tourism Development Corporation, that's going to be known as BASE. They're going to lobby on behalf of tourism-related businesses. Those who join the association would be required to pay a one-time $200 registration fee and annual dues of $100. And after a challenging 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Focall says it's optimistic about what the return to tourism will do for its bottom line in 2021. The company's recently released 2020 annual report revealing three factors which led to the company's lower net income, which stood at $22.9 million as of September 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic, Hurricane Dorian, and the implementation of International Financial Reporting Standards 16 on leases during 2020. More on these stories in today's Guardian Business section. Overseas, global shares mostly lower so far today after China reported its economic growth slowed in the April to June quarter to a still robust 7.9%. China's economy expanded at an 18.3 annual rate in January through March, and the latest in the last quarter, reflecting a leveling off of its relatively early recovery from the pandemic. Market reaction to Chinese GDP news was muted. Investors are keeping an eye on the latest comments on inflation from the U.S. Federal Reserve Chair, who reaffirmed the Fed's view that the surge in costs across the economy is temporary. Chair Jerome Powell suggested in testimony to a House committee that inflation will likely remain elevated but eventually moderate, reinforcing the central bank's position that rising inflation is a temporary impact from the recovering economy. Closer to home in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Wednesday. Your market movers: AML Foods Limited moving 4,000 shares, closing up 9 cents to $6.49. Cable Bahamas moving 3,900, down 13 cents to $3.40. Commonwealth Brewery moving 3,240, up 27 cents to $5.27. Consolidated Water unchanged at $2.41. Emira Incorporated unchanged at $11.17. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 1,959.58, up 1.65. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
Traveling around the world, infecting men and girls, forcing folks to quarantine. I'm talking about COVID-19.
We are back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Laverne Gardner. We are talking about employers and whether they can force employees to pay for COVID tests. So far, the National Tripartite Council says no, the law is clear on it. That can't happen. The employer has to bear the cost. And we are talking about that and the potential fallout from this. what that means. And you can call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Maybe you are an employer and you are disheartened by this, or maybe you're an employee and you are elated by this, or maybe you have some interesting views on this matter. We'd love to hear from you on that. We're getting your text messages. Somebody here says, in the USA, hospital workers took it to court and they lost. The hospital, I am sure a similar position will pertain here. Maybe it'll be based on the field that you're in, because, again, people expect that with healthcare workers and food handlers, perhaps, right? No?
Perhaps, but again, it's not mandatory. So then they'll need to go and enact some sort of legislation that says these employees working in this particular area, it's mandatory for you to get vaccinated.
Right. But somebody who is working in the back office in the warehouse who doesn't see anybody, I don't know, what difference will that make, right? Or can they limit it to this certain area? Is that a possibility at all? I don't know. Let's see what these callers have to say. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
I hope your family's doing well. Oh, when I look at this, okay, they can't force the employee to pay, the employee to pay for it. And if the employer has to pay for it, wouldn't he pass his cost into his, put the prices of stuff up, and maybe end up paying for it in the end anyway?
That's what we're saying.
Because if you're going to tell me I got to pay for all my employees to get vaccinated,
no,
and then I can't control the price.
Not vaccinated. Tested, to get tested if they refuse to get vaccinated.
Okay, tested or whatever it is. But if I have to pay it, then I'm going to still looking at my bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
I can put my prices up, so when you come back, the money I got to pay for them, I can put it down to you, my customers, right?
Yes, or remove special services or features, benefits to the employee as well. Anyway,
so at the end of it, the employer, he doesn't suffer. Because whatever you put the price up on him, he could just, okay, like Mr. Robert made when they were talking about VAT, when they were talking about the introduction of VAT. I remember him one time on an interview, he said he got some options he could do.
Right.
He either put up his prices, or he closed down some stores, or he lay off some staff. So what was he going to do? If you put the 7% VAT on me, I could pass it down to you at the bottom anyway. But I'm not going home with less money than I came out here with. I'm looking at my profit line, right?
That's what we're thinking is going to happen. Thank you very much, Sparky. Appreciate it. Yep. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
Good morning,
Laverne.
Laverne Gardner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Dwight, the world has taken a great step towards totalitarianism. The French Prime Minister has declared audaciously 30 hours ago that he had made the vaccines mandatory, right? Compulsory. That's the word he used before the French people. And obviously, if he made this statement on the news and the likes, right, that means that in order for him to make the statement, the bureaucrats in the European Union had to agree to this impetus. So this is going to spread all throughout the world now. Don't mind these people procrastinating. This is what it's all about. Now,
that's not necessarily correct, but it
right,
could start
I
a trend.
Bible, but I just like to say something. You see some information here. None of the pundits are mentioning the fact that there are 7 nucleic amplification tests. All right? And so the FDA, as time passed, the FDA has been authorizing the use of other nucleic amplification tests. And one is the trans-mediated amplification, one is isosomal amplification, one is strand displacement amplification. All of these are nucleic acid tests. Obviously, some are cheaper than the PCR test. And so I don't think it'll be fair, obviously, for the employer to pass an expensive test that's on the employee.
Well, actually, I mean, they're saying rapid antigen test, which is a lot cheaper, but still, that can add up if you have to do that every week.
More accurate. Don't forget the rapid antigen test. It's not
right.
Effective during the initial stage of infection.
Mm-hmm.
And also, remember that the PCR test, they're not disclosing these other nucleic acid tests do not have thermal cycles. And so they're not disclosing the thermal cycle at which they're receiving the negative and the positive. I've seen a case study, and they didn't disclose the negative threshold, but they disclosed the positive. And so all of these things are frightening, to agree with me. But we see the paradigm that they're squeezing the sheet into, and we just in denial because we hate to believe that we are moving towards this dystopian.
Yeah.
You see the capitalist paradigm and all in China.
Okay.
Have a good day, brother.
Thank you very much. All right. We'll get to those calls in a second. This person says here, I'm an employee and employer. I think this is a win for us all as citizens. Why are we so comfortable now with our constitutional rights being stripped away? What will happen next? These business owners raise prices for no reason. Anyway, so what's your point? I am tired of this whole corona thing. Well, aren't we all? We are all very, very, very tired. But tired of a lot of things, and they're still around. So, my goodness. Good morning, call. You're on the air. Okay. Wow. Good morning. You're on Morning Blend Business.
Dwight.
Hi.
Hey, I don't know if this is a way. Good morning to Mr. Levine and all your listeners. I don't know if this is a way for governments, or let's talk about the particular Bahamas government, to not discourage but encourage us to take the vaccine. Finding money for tests for whatsoever reason, going away, going to the family island, going back to work or whatsoever, I think is unnecessary. Musgrove used the word on your show a couple of weeks ago, subsidize, Dwight. I think the government need to do it. People might say, well, where the employees can do it, the employers can afford to do it, like a hotel, like Atlantis and stuff like that, I think they should continue to do it. Don't force no one to take the vaccine. You know when to force us to take the vaccine? When they say this vaccine is finished, the exercise and emergency use and all that stuff, then they could force us to pay for the test. But right now, I think the Bahamas government has fallen down from before it started sending people before the courts, people getting locked up for. I mean, it's wrong for you to break the law and to try to bring in a fake test, right? But I don't know the reason why they do it. Maybe they didn't have the money. Whatever reason, I think the government need to be more considerate. Like the United States, I know we in the Bahamas, we don't have what the United States have. But my God, this kind of crazy and confusing. You won't give me a vaccine free, but you can't help me to pay for a damn test? Keep up the good work, Dwight.
Okay. Thank you very much. And this call before we have to take another break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, morning.
Hi.
How you doing?
Doing well.
Listen, man, just some suggestion. I know we was trying to they're trying to process the police records now, but it's too much hassle, man. I thought you could have just go online, pay, and then you just print it out. But it seems like you have to go there, get some authorization, get it paid for, and then come back there because they got so many lines down there at the CID center, and there's no other locations, the police record, and it's a hassle. So I don't know what the mix-up is, but they're going to try and deal with that.
Okay.
Yeah, just suggestion. The commissioner, they need to revisit that. I thought you could just pay online, and then you just print out your police record.
Not related to what we're talking about at all, but thank you for that information. Hope they're listening. All right, let's read these messages before we go to the break. This one says here, lobby on behalf of the payment businesses. What does that mean? What can they do that their job as Ministry of Tourism, what's happening here, doesn't require them to do? This is about the caller who called before about the issue with the staircase. Is that what this is?
Right.
Okay, sounds like, yeah. All right, we're going to get some more information on that. Got to clarify what's going on there. Mm-hmm. This one here, two wrongs don't make a right. It's wrong to force someone to take this vaccine that is still on trial, and it's therefore wrong to force an employee to pay for their tests. I think you're trying to say, you said vaccination, but you mean tests. These people trying to save money, but they're only going to cause themselves to have to pay more money if a class action through courts were to be brought against them. So employers need to do the right thing. If they cannot afford the vaccination for staff, it's not a vaccination. Test. The vaccination is free. Yes, people don't want to take the vaccine. There's a cost to test, and they need to pay for their tests. Someone needs to pay for the test. So that's the issue there, right? And so employers are saying, well, why should I have to pay for this person to get tested every week when there's a vaccine that's available, and they can just take the vaccine and then we don't have to pay for anything? That's a good question. All right. let's see here. I want to read this message here. This is not related to what we're talking about right now, but this was sent earlier. I think I mentioned it. There was a text that came in. I refused to read it because I thought it was very rude. This person has sent a text. Once again, Dwight, you did not read my text. I sent it earlier. You are very unprofessional and biased. You seem to let your personal feelings get in the way of professionalism and objectivity. Shame on you. That's the text. Okay, I said I wasn't going to read the text, but I'm going to read the text right now. This is what this person had to say, Bahamian people. Morning, Dwight. The Prime Minister knows his political base are uneducated. They are only trying to survive and do not care about campaign finance reform. These uneducated are mostly junkaneurs. That's the text. I didn't want to read that because it was a very stupid, idiotic text. But this person wanted me to read that because they are a coward and couldn't call in to say that themselves, but they wanted me to be mean and cruel to you people out there. But I should read, if I were unprofessional, I would read your phone number so people could call you all day today to tell you what they think of you. Are you happy now? Okay, let's take a break. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio. Stay with us.
Traveling around the world, infecting men, women, boy, and girl, causing folks to quarantine.
Let's face it, in an increasingly competitive market, your business needs a competitive edge. That means offering your employees the benefits they want. Give them the benefit of retiring their way with the RF Multi-Employer Pension Plan. Choose from some of the best performing investment funds in the market while taking advantage of low administrative costs and professional management. Whether you're a team of 2 or 2,000, our pension specialists can design a plan for you. Contact us at pensions@rfgroup.com to learn more about the RF Multi-Employer Pension Plan. RF, money at work.
Wait, why you look so mashed up like clothes at the washer?
No, boy, just a hard day, boy.
Hard day? What happened? The breakfast lady ran out of tuna and gritty.
We need to start joking about everything, you know. This serious, boy. This real serious, boy.
Wait, what's serious? Tell me.
All right, well, today, boss gave us, boy, one big contract. And nobody else get a chance and nobody say nothing.
Boy, you know that ain't right. You know government contracts ain't supposed to go that way.
Yeah, but nobody's saying nothing. Boss man just tell Benny send me to meet his boy downtown and collect this envelope.
You need to tell somebody. You need to become a whistleblower.
You know I's a real man, but I never blow no whistle. I be drunk all my life and junk, you know.
No way. A whistleblower is someone who tells people what they see when they see something wrong happening at work.
But I ain't no whistleblower, and I ain't no snitch. I still white there, you know.
But ain't nobody gonna know it's you. All you gotta do is call Crime Stoppers, or you could text them from inside the Crack Crime Bahamas app. They don't ask about you, and your call goes straight through to Miami, so nobody know you is. And if you text, your message get mixed up like Kong Salad.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau, or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
RBC Royal Bank introduces our new Saturday banking services on Saturday, July 17th at Cable Beach, Carmichael, and Prince Charles, operating 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. New services will focus on helping clients with advice-oriented needs and getting them more comfortable with RBC digital banking. Cash will only be available through our ATMs and accepted for deposits via our ATMs or non-stop depository services. If you have questions, call our advice center at 356-8500. Reimagine Saturday services with RBC.
Got a final quick check of weather for morning. We've got a high-pressure ridge anchored north of the area that will continue to support moderate to fresh winds, while troughing will enhance pockets of shower activity across the islands. Temperatures today, well, your forecast for today, getting partly to mostly sunny, hot and breezy with a chance of scattered showers and the chance of isolated thunderstorms. We're expecting heat index factors to be in the triple digits again. Another hot day in store. Highs around 91 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make you feel like 105 Fahrenheit, 41 Celsius. Overnight lows getting down to 75 Fahrenheit, 24 Celsius. In your extended outlook, troughing will keep rain chances elevated over the next few days. For tomorrow, partly cloudy, hot, and a bit breezy, mainly in the central and southeast Bahamas, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Saturday, partly to mostly sunny, hot, and a bit breezy in the central and southeastern islands again, with a few passing showers and a slight chance of isolated thunderstorms. That's your morning blend weather check.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
Traveling around the world in and girl.
And we are back here with Morning Blend Business. Dwight Strachan with Laverne Gardner, our final few seconds of the show, Laverne. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm sure this will just not be settled. This will not just go out like that for many employers, and they're going to have issues with this. And it will be interesting to see what the courts and the industrial tribunal will be faced with over the next few weeks. So we will see. We will see. Hey, that's going to do it for today. Everybody, have a great one. Laverne, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Yep. Are you there? Yep. Oh, there
Yes,
we go.
I'm here. I'm saying it's always a pleasure to be here.
Thank you again. I'll talk with you next week. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, have a great one. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.